trying to play for that Inferno Dragon to deny it, right? That is such an incredibly strong soul, but also the ability to find picks if Na'Vi end up spreading thin is massive with this composition. It's one of the strengths of Ashe Seraphine. The vision it can give you, the long-range engages. So for Fnatic, like, this is a good spot for them. They have push on mid, they have mostly control over their side lanes at the moment, and it's on Na'Vi to try and break that, but it's much more difficult with their composition to try and find those moments, because all your engage is like a wind becomes lightning and flash engage from LEC. It's much more difficult to make happen.
Now note, 40 seconds before Dragon, a quick item to check for you is that Seekers still sits for Mainta, but there might be a Zhonya's coming on the way back as he returns now. I see a Blighting Jewel for Poby, and the question is whether he'll be able to upgrade that. I see the makings of a Shojin here for Sam D, most likely to be his 5th item on the Ezreal. Other side, that BF sword has been advanced, so BT close for upset. Vladdy also has a Seekers now as well, which I think is quite important for all the Victor players out there. As TP commences, Dragon's up in 5, and everyone is bot side.
Yeah, Na'Vi don't really have position for flank, which is what they'd love if Poby could get access to the back line. But Fnatic grouping up strong, using that front line, buying the space they need now.
Arrow.
Engage.
It's out. Empross does get the flip. Poby is the one that gets flipped back. Health bars right now pretty neutral outside of Empross, who's frontlining and taking a lot of damage. Sam D kites back and they start hitting the Dragon. Mainta has an angle, but he's found out by Fnatic with a good ward. Empross looking again to zone out 4K, 3K.
Thì cơ mẹ sập anh em. Đấy rồi. Đã biết luôn. Rồi, đánh trong căng này, có mạng cho xin giao. Chơi khô máu relax. Upset bắn ác nhá. Upset bắn ác đấy. Upset nó bắn hết rồi. Vợ nó thích thắng luôn anh em nhá. Upset nó bắn kinh đấy. Triple kill. Dốc lùa Sam đi không được à.
Flash in, won the fight for Fnatic, and just like that, it's barren for the black and orange.
Well, they'll take it with ease. No contest, a true shot barrage, maybe. We've seen crazier things we go to a replay, but Dagda, Vladdy, I thought just threw the entire fight, but I was wrong.
No, I mean, playing up here, Mainter trying to get access to the back line, Upset then kites up. Razork, beautiful cataclysm to keep Na'Vi away, but keep your eyes on Upset on the right side of this fight. Mainter does not have the hollowed mist, so Upset flashes in, kills Poby, takes down Paris, and immediately turns his attention back to the Gwen as she comes out of stasis. A magnificent performance from Upset in that was the reason Fnatic could do us.
Because Vladdy dies with Seekers, dies with Flash, and again, I cannot exclaim this enough. That Victor dying and getting one shot looks so good for Na'Vi, but a good call out as in chat. Crystal Arrow flies and gets Poby mid-jump. That stun
Con tiện hay đấy. Bộ bì chạy được. Chín cháu cho Fnatic này.
Fnatic have crested the hill. They are pushing in on towards the inhibitor turrets, and Na'Vi are crumbling. There's so much healing and shielding and tankiness now in Fnatic, and Na'Vi, I mean, look at Imperials. Relax just can't get through them.
Not only did he stop the Infernal Soul, win the last fight, he lands an arrow from near mid lane that opens up the pick on Poby. This time the arrow is going to whiff, but the pressure continues on. He steps up, talking about Upset again with the Guardian Angel now instead of advancing the Bloodthirster, and with no fear starts working on this inhibitor turret.
Yeah, I mean, he has so much healing already from Lost, but the Echoes of Helia Diadem combo is so potent. And Fnatic know it. They don't care if they take poke, they will survive. This Lost, though, may not.
He does get low, he flashes away, but again there is one target.
Nào, Bobby bọc đầu hay. Mất GA nhá. Upset vẫn đang được hồi sinh lại này, bắn tốt này. Double kill Bobby, ui nhìn cái bão kênh kìa. Cái bão kênh kìa, vãi cả lìn.
just can't be stopped. He can't be reached. He can't be poked. And here it goes again. Fnatic using the Baron buff. The autos reign true. Dagger said it himself. All he needs is a few. And upset land them with ease. Fnatic whip Na'Vi back into shape.
Okay.
Out of to win game one.
It's a similar story to yesterday for Fnatic. It was a rough early game, but crucial picks in the mid game. And fantastic team fighting from their superstar AD carry nets them the win.
That was Na'Vi's game. That was Na'Vi's game, and Fnatic took it as Laura is standing by with a very overwhelmed Lospa, maybe.
Lospa, they're chanting your name. What did it take to turn the game like this?
I think we had better comp for late game, and I know in early game we played really bad, but we knew we're gonna win after the game. I mean the late game.
Yeah.
So we just play with confidence, and yeah, that's it.
Confiance au late game, évidemment. Ils savaient qu'avec leur composition, ça allait le faire dans ce genre de cas. On reste calme, on reste concentré. Deuxième question, comment est-ce qu'ils reset justement pour que la prochaine game soit plus clean? How do you reset for the next game to be more clean, especially in the early game?
I think we should think about when to connect more as a team, and we should get position around objective earlier than this. Then we're gonna win easier than this, I think.
Right, Lospa, I'm gonna let you join your team this way. Thank you so much. On va se concentrer vraiment sur les petites choses, sur les petits détails et surtout en early game pour que ça marche. Pour l'instant, je vous laisse. Il y a Kamel derrière pour débrief la game. C'est à lui.
Merci beaucoup, Laure. Great to hear, obviously, from Fnatic after that.
Hang on.
But, okay.
Merci beaucoup. That's how we're going to open.
Merci beaucoup. Merci, it means thank you very much, buddy.
I know what merci beaucoup means.
He's French. Merci beaucoup.
He's French, guys. Goodness,
I'm French.
I mean, I do.
My name is Vedius. I'm French. As you can tell, things went a little bit pear-shaped here.
Listen, I
Yeah,
don't know what was worse, the first 27 minutes of that game or your French, because this is the question I had. Why? Why did Fnatic do so many things? We had questions about the draft, we had questions about early pathing, we had questions about what they were even doing in the early game. I felt like that for the first 27 minutes, we were like, so Fnatic is going to lose this game basically by doing nothing. And then they win! And then they win the game! Fnatic then won that!
I don't want to say this because I actually think Na'Vi is a kind of compelling team, but they really look like shifters this game. It completely looked like a shifters masterclass here by Na'Vi because we were hyping them up. We were seeing their early games, we were like, wow, they're just winning their lanes. They had like a 1.7k goal lead at 14 minutes, strictly by laning. But then they got bored.
But I gotta talk about a couple things, right? Because let's put some things into context. Things that we talked about, right? First of all, the early gank from Jarvan, right? He tries to gank bot lane, completely fails.
Oh, diabolical.
Right? He then has to path up to top. The Jarvan now changes his pathing from top to come back to contest the bot crab. Then we argued about the fight over the second crab. Remember when we were like, he's watching him, he could contest the second crab? And then there's also the swap that happened, where we were like, why did they swap? They got one grub, lost the next two.
I'm gonna stop you, because I feel like this game was like a fever dream. There's a lot of moments that did not end up mattering.
All this game, we just kept going, why is Fnatic doing this? Why is Fnatic doing that? Why does Fnatic keep doing these things? And then, like, once they lost, like, do you remember the Baron?
I do.
We didn't get a clip of this, but the first Baron, where basically Lospa and Razork are just in the river.
For no reason, it seems,
and then he stood on a blast cone.
He just
on the blast cone. We did actually get a clip of it for the first one, but we're not going to show it because it's like in the end. Well, we can have a look at it now.
We got it. Let's show the blast cone.
Razork walks out and he just presses S.
He's just standing there menacingly.
He just waits.
and so. Again, I come back to my whiteboard. Why, Fnatic? Why are we playing like this? Like, I had this whole bit about patience. Like, we can be patient to a point, but when does the opportunist Fnatic come through? When do you strike?
Wait, it did!
I mean,
I don't know how, but it did, Vedi. Like, we saw a couple of moments where we were so sure Na'Vi were going to win that game.
Yes.
With how the first 25 minutes had gone, we were so sure. And I was, like, thankful because I was like, okay, this is actually a pretty easy analyst test to host. All I have to do is lead in, early game Na'Vi leads, excellent, we'll talk about the draft. It's good for Na'Vi, excellent, we'll go from there. But somehow Fnatic have found some way to, like, put something in the water of the teams in the hotel, or they're feeding them pan au chocolat that's infected with some sort of shifter's mentality, because every team they play this weekend, and it is only 2 so far, seem to think that in the mid game you just can't win the game anymore.
I gotta give it to LEC, because it really was on him. I feel like every single time we saw an enemy champion, he wanted to E onto them and do a little bit of damage. But in the end, he's just getting caught out. Here, what are you doing under the tower? They do have CC. They are human players. They will punish you for doing this stuff, and you can't get away with this. Here, once again, Pobe gets caught, and it ends up with LEC saying like, okay, I don't have a mid laner, but I kind of can't contest this. Why wouldn't I just walk up? Oh, there's an Ash arrow. That's why you don't walk up. And he just gets went on and dies again. It's just chain int after chain int.
It wasn't even sold for Fnatic when he gets caught there either. It would have been their third dragon.
So I just, like, I know to the viewers at home, it may seem like, why are they ragging on Fnatic for this win? Like, we would love to sit there and say, wow, what an impressive comeback from Fnatic, but it felt like that it was just a comedy of errors where Fnatic, for the first 25 minutes, just kind of made mistake after mistake with which Na'Vi took advantage of, grew a huge lead, and then Na'Vi just kind of completely lost focus, then gave pick after pick, and then Fnatic just picked up on the mistakes. And we talked about how, like, in terms of the quality of league, this felt low by the standards of both these teams.
I will say, to me, the one thing that Fnatic did do really well this game was their team fighting when they had a normal position. I think the fact that in every single team fight, Cassandra was marking the Gwen, the Victor was marking the Aurora, being super aware that they need to mark their flanks. I do think Fnatic, to me, was a team that manages to refocus better from the madness compared to Na'Vi.
And it's something we've wanted to see from Fnatic, right? Like a reversion to what works for them, and at the moment it feels like scaling team fighting. It's just what they've decided will work for them this weekend.
I do have to say, if you're a Fnatic fan at home, for the longest time, you've been a we win early, can't close late.
Yeah.
I think the fact that they're winning games but struggling early, I think that's still an upward trajectory for Fnatic fans.
The winning games
thing must be great. Yeah, I mean, that's got to be a great turnaround for the Fnatic fans, because now it's, you don't get pessimistic when you've got a lead. Now you get optimistic when you're behind.
It's still a roller coaster.
It still is a roller coaster.
You're just starting off at the bottom and climbing rather than starting off at the top.
Time? Is this the anti-thesis, the rogue time? Fnatic time is just when the gears kick in and this is lock in. Yeah, I mean, shifters have embodied rogue time. They wear it with pride. Yeah, it's been very interesting to watch Fnatic. Do you want to talk about the draft? We did prep the draft and we were going to have a chat about it. It's kind of quintessential draft for Fnatic this weekend.
My take on the draft was that Fnatic, I preferred Fnatic's comp on paper purely because I felt like it was easier to play.
Sure.
My perspective was, I think in the late game, I thought Na'Vi would outscale. That was the vibe I got, but we heard Losper on stage. He was pretty confident that they outscaled, and I think from his POV, it's very much in the context of the team fights and the way that they approach those front-to-backs. But I saw Na'Vi's threat on side lane, the range that they had with the Ezreal, and I thought they had a lot of tools to play around what Fnatic had. But when you've got Victor Ashe for the front line of Cassante, Fnatic had very strong team fighting in the late game.
I mean, I agree with you, and I feel like the fact that you first pick Jarvan like this without an Ezreal ban, you ban the Varus and Ryze, but you still want to first pick the Jarvan. It just kind of sets up the enemy team to do a draft like this. Look, Ezreal, Aurora, Gwen, they can all get out. They can't really get locked down. And I thought this Jarvan would be homeless without the work in team fights. But he was looking for the job, and he was finding it in the late game. He actually managed to find these crucial picks. Partly due to the fact that Na'Vi gave it to them very freely, but still, I gotta say impressive bounce back from Razork.
He was homeless in the early game. Like, we really didn't see much from Razork in the early game, but as you say, later on in teamfights, it worked out a lot for them. I want to talk about the lack of engage that we're often seeing with range supports these days, because Na'Vi here, when they started to fall behind, or when they couldn't really up the tempo of the game, like keep things moving, they didn't really have the tools in their toolkit to just pick someone and go, hey, this is how we initiate.
The problem for me is that while engage naturally is so valuable when it comes to approaching these fights, I feel like that a lot of teams don't really always appreciate the way in which they need to approach the drafts that they've drafted for themselves, because when you have a range support, it becomes easy. Here, Finn, you're playing Nautilus. Please land a hook, land an ult. Do something for me with which I can then follow up. But when you're playing range support, you have to demonstrate patience, you have to leverage poke, and one of the big things Finn talked about was also flanks, right? You talk so extensively about flanks, and if you're talking about that, then vision becomes important. The battle for vision, the setup in order to get that vision, clearing out enemy vision, pushing your waves. I think all these steps get skipped, especially when you feel like you're under pressure. And sometimes I feel like Na'Vi put themselves in these positions where they're like, oh, now we don't quite have that confidence anymore. We don't have that state. So then they kind of go in haphazardly is the word I was looking for, and then things end up crumbling.
That makes sense all around. We're going to go to a short break before we get back with the second game of Na'Vi versus Fnatic. Hopefully, we see an earlier first blood. Let's go. We'll be right back after this.
Roulette and Sam D thinking about a dive. On to Upset, Win becomes lightning. Crescent guard. Upset about to die. The flash auto. 18 minutes 45.
I can DP Javan. A flash. I will reach. I will reach. Nice. Every time. Okay. I will tank for you. Okay. Just kill him now. I can hit now. Look at me. I'm winning. I'm coming. You win. Chuyên. I'm going forward, by the way. I don't care. Good job, guys. Holy what a comeback, guys. A bit of a rap game. Good job. Holy shit.
Brother, let me try.
Wait, brother. Let us break this instead, brother.
Have a break. Have a Kit Kat.
What is this, brother?
Perfection.
I'm your champion. Welcome to my shop. You'll need the right build. Choose wisely, because every upgrade brings you closer to the next level. So tell me, how will you level up?
The whole room was howling.
Howling? Oh. That's not howling, buddy. That's...
Did you steal the LEC trophy? Okay, you can call it.
Right now for us, we have been performing so badly that we kind of need every win we can get, so it's gonna kind of decide the fate of our split if we can make it to the playoffs or not. So yeah.
It's gonna be first of all exciting, and we are aiming obviously to do the 3 out of 3 since we are playing 3 days in a row. And yeah, I think it will be pretty exciting to especially beat Karmikor, which are my previous team.
The weekend that we're going to play in Everett is going to be very important because it's most likely will decide if we will qualify for playoffs or not. So we will need to prepare, and it's going to be a really, really important week for us.
It is going to be an important weekend for them because, let's be real, Fnatic so far have not had the greatest start to each and every game. But, hell, a win's a win. That's what we said at the start of the day. My name is Serix. I'm joined by Dagda. And so far, Dagda, Fnatic have had the roughest early game I think we have seen. I mean, here, of course. I think in LEC Spring overall, their early game has been mega rough out of like the middle tier teams. Yeah, I mean, we've definitely had some mishaps, right? Like, I think this game wasn't exactly the quintessential one, I'll say, because like we didn't have first blood until 18 minutes. There was like a 1k gold lead for a large portion of this that didn't really matter. So I think it was more as we kind of, as we got to the later portion of the game, we really started to see that fall apart. But yeah, the last couple have not been the greatest for them, I will say. But isn't it opposite ends of the scale? Like Na'Vi, we talk about, oh god, their early games are actually quite nice, you know, controlled in this game especially. They built up a 3k lead before finding the first fight and really just elevating that. To then all throw it away, get caught out in sides for Poby, Relech a couple of times as well. I think Vedius was holding a sign Y, which aptly depicts Na'Vi's game 1. And they're opposite ends. Their early games are great, but then they throw it away all in the mid game. We look towards mid game, and that's where Fnatic apparently shine. Yeah, I mean, they had some great picks, and I think it's kind of a tale of both sides of the coin, right? Because on one side, it's yes, Fnatic did well to find those picks, but also Na'Vi really never should have put themselves in positions where those picks could have happened, right? Because Poby getting caught on that side lane was a massive mistake. Even Relech as well, getting caught, like that CC chain was really good from Fnatic, but there was no world where you should have got caught in that position, right? Needs to be more reactive as well, that's what I mean, on top of that. So I think it's a bit of a mixed bag. Still though, if that is what we're seeing, great news for Fnatic, because I mean they managed to pick up the win here. If they can manage to take a victory, it completely changes what the last few weeks of our split could look like. Starting 0-3, I was talking to Odo yesterday. They lost to SK, they lost to MKOI. They obviously found the win against G2, and then sorry, they lost against GX and SK. And can you imagine going from that 1-3 start to then 3-3 in a live weekend with the chance to try and upset the KC fans of the home arena? And also the fact that like you've a win against G2, you've a win against Na'Vi, like you've a win against some of the top teams there as well, which then kind of pulls into question where the hell do you stand, right? So I think it does make things significantly more interesting, but we have to get through the next game at least, maybe 2 more for Fnatic. We have to get through it, Dagda. We have to get through it because the first 17, 18 minutes, nothing happened. Dagda is right. We have to get through it, but I mean, it was enjoyable once we really got the ball rolling. As that Rise is going to get Orianna too. Let's kind of take pace and know that with the Rumble gone, the Varus gone, we are going into less standardized lanes, with Nautilus also being banned 2 games in a row. Yeah, Nautilus is going to be banned, good into a lot of the enchanters. Pantheon, a big one that you see an awful lot of the time, is still being left open as well. So we'll have to keep our eyes on that as it starts to slip on through. I imagine that could be the last ban, but then you start to see things like the Vi rise up in priority as well. That does get a lot of the ban attention as well. Nocturne. Now, maybe, as you said, maybe Vi first pick then, if we've left that open available. But I think it would be Pantheon is the higher priority in my eyes. You're right. Because I think it's incredibly strong at the moment. Like, Global's quite good. Yep. The only question then is, because Fnatic banning the Nocturne, we've seen Nocturne a little bit more as the answer into the Pantheon. So I kind of wonder what Fnatic have as an answer then for the Pantheon. Like, basically turn off the lights.
Mưa sẽ dần hàng cây.
Cover sides with a Nocturne is oftentimes what we see.
Hữu Fnatic bao nhiêu chấm mà em chả biết nữa anh em.
Fnatic could be the next port of call. As you said, that Pantheon's so strong that for Fnatic they obviously have options that they'd rather pick and worth giving it away. Bot lane for upset and loss, bro. I feel like last game were really what carried them through. Maybe a chance.
The thing is, I actually personally prefer the Lulu Yunara side of this coin, where I thought that would be what Fnatic went for, was trying to solidify a strong bot lane.
And they've played it. They most played bot lane as well, so that's a good point.
And then you also kind of end up with this double whammy of the vibe
Upset gánh ác nghỉ à?
because you then get the secondary engage to it, but instead
Chúng đang diễn đấy, vở kịch ấy.
so not opting into that, they're just going to try and play this strong front to back. But with the Kate Bard on the bottom side, a lot of push. You got good side lane.
Pháo sắp đá đấy.
Now, where the Pantheon can play very heavily to defend that bottom side, and things look a little bit trickier, I will say, for Fnatic if this Caitlyn Bard can get rolling.
Bit of range added in as well. I wonder if Fnatic like tricky though. I feel like last game that early game was so tricky, but they navigated it regardless. However, it's about all those solo laners now, isn't it? We've got bot lane sorted once again in the draft. The priority so far has really been about cementing bot early with jungle attention. Now with the Vayne gone, I'm starting to think Fnatic are like, what, tank top again or what?
So, I mean, that seems to be the plan. Doesn't matter who they're against, they seem to want to play out Imperials onto these more tank-oriented picks. And Finn was actually talking to me about how Mater did him a number on the Vayne in solo queue.
He did do him a number.
Definitely seems to be trying to play a little bit more of those carry picks. So it makes sense, definitely, that you're trying to limit that pool and limit those opportunities. We'll have to see the Kennen coming through as well.
Or Nectin.
Or Nectin or Sion, still an option here as well.
You're right.
But we'll have to see exactly what the game plan is.
Getting rid of an engage option for Na'Vi for the carry top. I mean, again, we talked about, like, Mainter's a bit of a role player, but he's also got some flexibility outside of some of those tanks. You know, the Ambess is something we talked about last game, Dagda. It could also be an option to layer up with the Pantheon.
Đêm hôm qua bỗng nhiên em
Kennen
nhìn
gone.
thấy
We know
anh
the Fnatic might be going towards
trong
Renekton or the
giấc
Sion themselves.
mơ.
Akali gone in the mid lane from Na'Vi. Now, do Fnatic safeguard top lane and go for Vladdy counter pick, which seems like it might be the way.
I think in this scenario, I think you just take the mid lane for yourself.
Oh, you reckon? Okay.
And then just hold out. Like, I think you could... Oh, okay, gonna go now. I was gonna say, I think you could try and take some blind picks mid and not be too out in the open, but you're gonna immediately take the Gnar. Ari gonna be the blind pick here for Poby, it looks like, on the opposite side. I kind of like... Well, the Annie works as well, but basically, like, something that has a lot of mid-game power is what I'd be looking for here.
Syndra.
Caitlyn's going to come online later on, so just kind of something to bridge that gap is what I'd be looking for in the mid lane. I think Syndra does a great job here, and not many good answers into her that are open at the moment. And Mainter...
Stop it. Yeah, it's not leader, okay? We're not looking at leader. Let's just hold.
It's a very good matchup.
You reckon? Surely be something more civil like the Ambassador, no? Or
I mean, Ambassador could work, yeah. Okay, but still, I think, like, I like that we're getting Mainter again opting into these more carry picks. I think it's strong into the Gnar, especially when he's in that Mega Gnar form. And now for Vladdy, like, Ari can work in conjunction with the Skarner, especially trying to charm to set up for a lot of these plays. But traditionally, what we've seen a lot more with the Skarner is these ears and these more carry picks. Still though, like, for Fnatic, strong opportunity to try and play through like a decent bot lane on these one-item spikes with both the Malignants and that Triforce being hit. Same with the Triforce in the top lane. Whereas when I look at Na'Vi, it's like heavy power in the lanes. Trying to play through that strength, which we've said is our bread and butter. And then actually leaning in more towards Sam D on the
Sáng lối em mang về.
Because if they come out of lanes, look at the single target damage as well. The lockdown is crazy from Na'Vi as well. And when you consider things like Ari, Corki being taken out of the mix, well, outside of, I guess, you know, Gnar damage, you're thinking, hang on, we kind of know where our bread is buttered on the side of Fnatic.
And a lot of combo play off of the Syndra Scatter the Weak, right? You look at traps, you look at tempered fates, you look at the public execution. Lots of follow-up if these CCs can come through, even the Pantheon as well. So I think this is where for Fnatic, that can be a problem, especially
Fnatic cộng 652 20 cho Fnatic.
We're still kind of late on a lot of these setups. Against the composition like that has been drafted by Na'Vi, I think that is you cannot do that. You cannot give that space. The zone control that is offered on Na'Vi is absolutely absurd.
Well, as we look through the eye of the deer, which was very unsettling, but also quite hype at the same time, we welcome you back on the Summoner's Rift for game number 2. Fnatic came back after what was an over 2,500 gold deficit, is what I remember correctly. Thank you, production. To now, a very different game 2 draft from Na'Vi. As you said, the follow-up is crazy, but we are going to be focusing on the lanes here. as we have Electrocute Bard, but we also have Electrocute onto Mainters and Bessa in the top lane. So burst trades, as against a range matchup, it will be hard for the Ambessa early with such big cooldowns.
We saw this from Mainter yesterday as well, where he ended up upping in towards the Electrocute into that range matchup against the Jace, just basically saying, look, I want to try and look for these quick all-in windows. Didn't work out so hot from there. Let's see if it
Tay tham không em à?
from this time around.
Không.
As again, the
2-0 Fnatic. Em không thích đánh mấy cái mã tham.
like the Jaces, and should be a little bit easier for him to try and play that.
A little bit, but we'll find out how he goes in the 1v1. For now, our eyes are focused on the bottom lane. Cosmic Binding versus a bit of ebb and flow from Lospa. Electrocute gets procced, and that's exactly what Paris wants for some of these trades, as SamD gets a push out first, and naturally you expect with the Caitlyn Bard, they have a bit more range, they have a bit more burst, and Na'Vi did opt in for this lane as a response against Upset and Lospa, locking in Corki Na'Vi.
Yeah, I think as well it then creates a really interesting dynamic then if we get to a game 3 for the Yunara Lulu, because I think that then becomes like the focus for the bottom side, because often the Corki Na'Vi's pick is an answer, which is why I was surprised to see Upset Lospa go for it. And SamD now and Paris have a good matchup, as you can see, when pushing lane that opens up then Relech to look for invades, and that was kind of the dangerous part of going for this style of comp.
This is the drop down from Poby, gets level 3, so now I believe Scatter the Weak has just been taken, and if it wasn't taken before, good dodge away from the charm from Vladdy. Poby last game had an okay laning phase. He's the only one down because Vladdy on the Victor found a bit of success versus Poby's Aurora. Scout of the Week doesn't connect, but I will say Vladdy's lane is
Hồn gió tốt rồi.
with Orb of Deception after the charm. Poby gets hit pretty hard.
Chúng nó diễn 3 game với em mà. Mấy game cũng được, không quan tâm anh ơi.
Outside of a mana advantage for now, health is looking good as Vladdy steps forward once
Nhưng
again.
mà hôm nay sẽ là 2-0.
Be careful. If he gets flash charmed, he will be dead. As Orb of
Thích
Deception
diễn nào diễn.
wave and Vladdy paying respect. Hang on.
Fnatic sẽ có một cú Miracle Run nhé. Vào playoff. Đi FSI luôn.
What this matchup comes down to is can Poby land some of these stuns, poke at range, not give Vladdy opportunities to get value from this electrocute. But in the early stages, Vladdy with a nice charm does control the matchup, TP back, as Poby will have to respond now in kind with his own.
Wave is quite hefty as well. Poby with 70 mana. Now these use Dark Sphere W combination. He's just going to have to try and auto this. He'll lose the last minion. Vladdy will happily receive the rest of the wave. So CS will be even as
Thứ tha năm trời đã trôi mấy con gái tuyệt vời.
There are two teams here, guys.
Yeah,
don't listen to the casters. AKA me.
Yeah, so we're going to investigate this. I think it's interesting to see though how like this is going to play.
God. Sorry.
Look, it could be game settings, you know, same as last one. You never know. And at least there's not really too much happening right now, right? You've had both junglers go for their clears, they're handshaking on, trying to go for opposite scuttle crabs. It's all going to be fairly standard. The interesting one for me is going to be mid lane, because
Anh biết cả cuộc đời em không gặp ai tốt hơn em.
So if I'm Relech, my focus would be trying to pivot around Poby to see if I can unlock him, see if I can maybe get him on towards roams, down towards that bottom side, for dives. And I think that's going to be the really interesting part. And Poby is an exceptional Syndra, like 14 and 6 over the course of his career on the Syndra. A lot of them were kind of in tier 3, but still, it's a comfort pick for Poby. And if you can then play with this constant ramping of CC over the course of a fight, it can be really difficult for Fnatic to play these.
Lots of scaling as well. Execute now on Unleash Power. It was introduced quite a while ago, but still so relevant as Relech going for the invade. Razork on his chickens, he is getting offended here. Smite goes down, Relech just takes the big one. A nice little invade, and Relech again finding his heart in the enemy jungle as heal has to be burned on the bottom side. There's a quick crit from SamD, rather headshot. And he gets a priority again. 90 caliber net forward. SamD gets the autos down, and Built Over Peacemaker is close to getting a kill.
Yeah, it could have been a disaster, especially if that had connected, because I think it would have missed the minion, and then you get the full brunt of the damage from Upset as well. Doesn't have that fall off after hitting the first target, so bit of a difficult spot. But this is what you want now, like a wave and a half now for Upset, and for SamD and Paris to start to chip away at this turret.
Great CS lead. This is only going to continue to grow. Phosphorus Bomb has to be used, but then they have to step off the turret, so a couple more minions missed, and SamD and Paris will continue to wait for the next wave and continue to pressure down. Reset from Razork, so he can't do much in the bottom lane just yet. Pathing there for his wolves, but Still, they've got a ward on the tri-brush, so a lot of control held by SamD and Paris. They're going to use this timer to get the wave pushed in. SamD onto Lospa, good hold from Lospa, but regardless, the minion wave will crash, and a couple more will be missed by upset.
Yeah, Lospa was trying to hold it, but cancel the reset for SamD and Paris to make sure that that couldn't happen.
Yikes.
And now, so
Muốn thấy cuộc đời nó trên môi
expected for Imperos, kind of getting that push in. Once he gets the early boots as well, it becomes a little bit more difficult for Mainter, but Mainter going for his first reset now should have a decent purchase for himself. And then in the mid lane, I'm actually surprised to see Vladdy has opted now on both resets not to pick up the early boots. Traditionally what I've seen in a lot of
Chán mã gì em à? Em không đánh Fnatic cộng 6.5.
is super important. But Vladdy honestly has been doing a good job of just being able to sidestep them himself. You still see the early Merc threads opted into in a lot of the Syndra matchups, just because if the CC lands and jungler is there, like now, it can be a bit of a disaster. There's only the no magic mantle for the moment though.
I feel like for both it's going to be super relevant.
Upset đi đường vẫn đang thua nhá. Khó.
So the advantage in bot rearing its head is tier versus longsword, obviously. SamD is going to continue to own in that bottom side. Razork now hovering around, but I believe he's spotted out. As Paris is on the move, seeing if he can influence the mid lane a little bit more, as Poby and Vladdy both have level 6. That means a bit of an execute here from Poby, but a bit of mobility from Vladdy to start roaming as well.
Relech is invaded on the top side because he knows that Razork has gone for the Scuttle Crab. So just trying to see if he can skill away camp, hit 6, and now potentially make the play in mid. Razork here to cover though, could make it a little tough.
Relech has got level 6 though, and with some fancy footwork from Poby, he dodges away from the charm. There's no real chunk to lead to anything happening up there. Razork spotted over a ward as he goes for his Krugs. Now spotting away that Relech has done some dirty business in here as Blue Buff is going to be taking the meantime and Relech continues to scale ahead. It does feel like, again, another good early game from this Na'Vi jungler as he continues to get in the face of Razork.
I think it's just trading well, getting the advantage that he wants and getting a little bit of the steals has put Razork in an awkward spot. Also with the pathing down towards this bottom side, I think it would be take Wolves, reset, buy...
Nào, upset, bắn trả hay, thủy ngục tốt.
Or use the push now that Poby's hit 7 to push off of bot and mid to look for dragons. Seems to be the best play to kind of, again, Na'Vi like start stacking dragons, play towards what has been their more traditional playstyle.
Well, you've got Proper, so that should be easy to do. Wards down from Fnatic, anticipating the threat as SamD gets a nice bit of regen, thanks to Paris, who has Tempered Fate. And bottom side to be cleared from Relech. But another slow early game again. I guess we're just in for a mild ride up until we get to that mid game.
Yeah, well, the thing is, it's a similar story to last one. Na'Vi going, hey, we have strong lanes apart from top side, but let's just continue to let the strong lanes in mid and bot do their thing.
I mean, even more than last game as well.
Exactly,
right?
Yeah. And then we're going to be in a fine spot. The only one you do have to be worried about is Mainter, but his CS is looking good. He has lost a place or two because obviously that's kind of the way things go. It's just a single plate at the moment. But definitely, as long as you're now in a position where you can start to get towards the Eclipse and you're not too far behind, things do become significantly easy.
Definitely rushing that because there's no Tabi here against the Gnar, which you might expect otherwise. However, as you said, that Eclipse rush is on the way. Grub's also spawned on the top side of the map, so note that without Dragon taken, we do have a bit of a trade possible. We already mentioned it, Na'Vi 700 gold in the lead, and yeah, absolutely chilling. The bot lane lead is kind of slowly growing. I mean, Upset and Lost for a full HP for now, but like 15 CS. SamD and Paris, if not maintaining it or pushing it by a couple of CS.
Vẫn thế thôi, vẫn 10 phút đầu không đều thôi. 20 phút đầu không đều luôn cho cẩn nhá. Em biết tốc biên né được hành quyết công khai.
Honestly, I think Mainter should have just committed with the flash instead of just trying to hold off and just barely missing on the ultimate. Because this buys a lot of time now for Fnatic. As you say, Imperius gets a TP back. He survives. Poby in mid though.
Into melee range for the charm. Poby gets the shrine. Orbit Deception. Waiting with one more Spirit Rush available.
Nào bắt Bobby.
Coming soon, you know, but Vladdy's run low on mana. Paris comes in for the roam to help out and Yeah, a little bit harsh from Fnatic not to find anything in the mid lane, but I think they'll be happy because Empros survives what should have been a short kill.
Yeah, the main focus for me though is ultimate down for LEC.
Yep.
This is the tool that is basically covering that bottom side of the map constantly, making it tough for Razork to really interact with Samdi and Paris. Now that with that being down, he feels a little bit more confident. Paris though is a strong independent Bard and don't need no jungler.
That's
and
right.
is able to push Razork off of this dragon by himself.
That's right, he'll send the Scorpion King back. Na'Vi have already got one, they don't need another one. It's Razork, hang on.
Hay này, gom tốt này, bắn nó em. Ui, tốc biến được. Rồi chỉ chậm vẫy lìn ra, mày ngu.
Probably would like to keep the flash.
But that doesn't matter.
You know,
He knew what he
tricks
wants.
on the play. But still, I think managing to push off Fnatic, nice job. And now LEC on this bottom side means that you can actually start to keep up this pressure, try and look for the dragon yourselves. Reset for Poby in the mid lane, will be able to TP back in, and it's an aggressive one in towards that river as well, just to try and deny Vladdy from coming in on the play.
So he has the angle on the scout of the week. Razork coming back in with the Proto Harness as well. Gets Magical Journey, or rather Cosmic Binding. Na'Vi a bit dangerous in the river here. As Razork still looks for a small engage. Gets poked out, but the Magical Journey is going to get Na'Vi out.
Có rồng cho Na'Vi.
Get around, but to no avail. They get nothing here, while the dragon, first one of the game, goes to Na'Vi.
Actually, nice reset timer there from Mainter as well. Was holding that TP if he needed to come and join in the fight, but Na'Vi get the CC that they need. They dip out. And Fnatic haven't really been able to find any sort of cross maps at the moment to match what Na'Vi have been doing, and it's kind of a similar story from game one.
Dagda, it doesn't matter about the early game, does it? Because Fnatic will do something in the mid game. We know now that's their recipe. So they can fall behind 5,000-6,000 gold. It probably won't matter.
But they don't really have the fallback plan that they usually do. Either it's Upset or it's Vladdy that have been stepping up.
So
those two guys, not in the best of spots. A lot of it is on Empiros, and Na'Vi want to shut that down.
Paris making the roam. He's got a lot of movement speed here now as well with the moon plate. And Sam D getting all the CS and world shared with Mainter, but still majority going to this Caitlyn as he's also getting plates to himself. Mainter's going to back off, still threatening the ulti from Fog of War, but this Na'Vi bottom lane, although they're not massively up on CS, and they're going to do a lot of work if left alone. Fnatic going to stop them. In the meantime, I will say, Hysterics can be wrong, speaking in third person. And I'm wrong here, because Upset and Lospa have just had free access to the turret plating themselves too.
Yeah, I was going to say, this was a fairly decent play for Na'Vi with the way they were able to play things, but with the late reset from Mainter, Upset being able to catch the majority of the wave and match the push as well, it's kind of left them in an awkward spot. Now, they should be able to get first turret gold off this push, which is going to be nice for them, but definitely not as cool as a lead as they had been able to swap around on.
Yeah, and RollQuest actually goes to Upset first here on Fnatic. With Sam D, he'll find this turret and...
Yeah, just trying to deny as much.
Deny as much minions, yeah. As he clears out this wave, that turret still will go down. Phil still will be the first turret in the game. Gets the RollQuest with it as well. So a bit of a hefty chunk of gold, but as we said, I mean, Upset for a losing position in that lane will be happy that at least he's competing.
Yeah, I think it was just Na'Vi basically saying, look, we didn't want this bully from Empiros to continue going.
Yeah,
we
no
wanted
bully.
to try and play in to shut him down. They did so, managing to get Mainter into the bottom side, pick up a majority of the CS, and now off the back of that, Mainter is up on...
Cú ngang đi gì vậy khỉ hả? 1.5.
It was in lieu of giving some of that gold away from
Newcastle cộng 1.5.
With the now Storm Rangers already picked up, Sam D should be in a position to play very aggressive in these lanes, open up movement from Paris, and a roaming Bard with the LEC, maybe exactly the play bot lane.
Oh, this time it hits at max range, CC, no move!
Hay thế nhờ, phớp lắt cho Na'Vi này.
As everything from Na'Vi goes perfectly for a four-man dive.
That's the combo we were talking about. They have so much CC LEC, trying to look for the evade and the follow-up.
They didn't burn that much.
They don't want it.
Still has the ulti available for the range. LEC knows he has backup, looking for Upset in the mid lane. Cosmic Binding just going to be Valkyried away from. Blue buff does go to Razork in the end, so there was no steal, but a lot of pressure being added by Na'Vi right at the bottom lane.
Nhanh nè, tôi ngủ à, sợ bắn ba bán à.
Upset is about to get that call to pop as well, so you're seeing, okay, Upset probably going to even out the goal for Sam D, but with these plays on side lanes, Poby is continuing to get these advantages through that mid lane, and it's a good matchup with the Syndra. We talked about how he could try and punish, and now with this tower very close to going down, I think the Syndra is going to be a very dangerous piece for this chess game.
Oh yeah. Poby getting all that solo gold, yummy yum. It's going to be a great mid game. Well, stop talking, I should tell myself. It looks like it's going to be a great mid-game from Na'Vi. All the tools are set up. As you said, the recovery from Fnatic might be a little bit harder in this one, but I just feel like Na'Vi again are putting all the steps in place. They've also got a Dragon in a minute with this mid-push that's going to be non-stop, with Poby adding so much pressure to sides as well. Feels like the second Dragon should be for free. Question mark.
I mean, Fnatic have a decent position, so they move Razork towards mid. They help to get push. Now they're starting to get Crab, starting to get Vision. And you're seeing those resets come through from Reledge. And not really going to be able to follow up too effectively on this. I think you still need Fnatic to push mid and look for their own reset as well, hoping that Upset has one CS. There he goes, pops the call. So now Upset in a fairly decent spot if he can get this reset off into the fight. And with 25 seconds, Fnatic kind of control the area.
Yeah, surprisingly enough, right? They're even looking for a dive onto Poby, but Razork's going to be found out.
Nào.
Looks for the face check.
Razork chạy thôi.
Razork has to be careful. Scout of the week is fantastic as Poke continues to land. No charm from Bloody though, just out of range. And Na'Vi, it's only Paris to get poked up here, but with a bit of sustain, he'll be fine. And the question of control now flicks back and forth as Razork gets healed up as well, and Dragon now spawns.
Na'Vi have all first items completed though, whereas you're still waiting for Bloody to try and finish his Imperios in the top half as well. So I just don't think Fnatic are at their strongest quite yet. That one item spike is huge, but you haven't got there. So Na'Vi feeling they can move into position to contest this.
Magical journey, it's a short one as TP comes in. Fnatic again want to get themselves in. Razork flashes in, impales from Flurridge, gets out, and a tempered fate from Paris holds the jungler of Fnatic, but no trap. Sam D misses a still target, and Razork just rolls out of that. Well, now no tempered fate, range engaged now down. Teleport going to be committed, but that's Poby coming in after one tool is down on their support.
Still, Na'Vi managing to position here. They were a little bit worried about the follow-up as Bloody moved into mid after completing the first item, and now Fnatic.
Nào, hành cuối cùng khai bắt này. Rock đang bị đánh rất đau. Bobby thì sao đây? Bobby vẫn đang sống nhá. Đéo có đam mà, đẩy nó vào tường đi, giết nó. 1-1 đã này. Sam đi vẫn đang thả diều tốt. Lấy lao lên hôn gió hụt rồi. Meister túc biến né hôn gió, có rồng cho ban không? Rock thấp máu lên bảng điểm số thôi. 2-1.
So Sam D could hold his position and fight. You'll see it as this one comes through. So Na'Vi dive on towards Razork, which then opens up Bloody with a good charm to get onto Poby. Poby spends so much time here not falling as he dodges the wall up and throws ults. But Sam D then knows that he can use the range on Caitlyn to play this fantastically, constantly threading, leaving Na'Vi in a position where they can move back and forth. They get the dragon, they kill Razork, but the rest of Fnatic couldn't follow up as they would have to bypass Sam D to do so.
You're right, like Poby danced on them a little bit, and so much of that teamfight engage used, especially Empress's Mega Nara's second dragon. Now we go to Herald. Na'Vi are on that as well as Razork's busy clearing out of his jungle that has just respawned. And a 3k goal lead, it seems like a similar story to game number 1. But it does feel like, again, so many more tools this game. And the Herald should also open up the mid lane so that siege that Na'Vi have been holding can continue even more.
Yeah, I think my biggest worry though is that you don't really have the uber late game scaling of kind of the Victor and that's coming through for Fnatic in this time around.
Yeah, like, as you said, you're a bit more worried.
Yeah, Caitlyn's very strong in late game. Same with the Syndra. Like a 3-item Ambessa is disgusting. Yep. It feels a little bit more difficult. I'm sure you've got like some tools you can use, like Corky, no pushover. Same when you look at Razork in the later game team fight with his health bar. But I still give the edge to Na'Vi in this one.
That's why Fnatic are getting a move on. Razork constantly looking for plays, but Sam D not going to over push.
When is Razork not looking for plays?
I mean, yeah. As a jungler, I feel like that's all you're going to do. And to be fair, I mean, in game 1 it was the same on the Jarvan, and I think Razork did actually prove to be so beneficial for that first game. Here in this one on the Skarner, can he do the same? Down 1,000 gold against Reledge and 40 CS in the jungle. Reledge has been on a bit of a tear this game, and Razork had the invade in the first 10 minutes of game 1. It did feel like Reledge's early game overall really wasn't that bad. In fact, you know, the next 10 minutes after that, he really took control of the jungle, started edging out a lead. This time, even more so. The second item soon to be on the way.
And Ripchild still in his back pocket. So the opportunity to try and take down a mid lane tier 2, open up the map, make things a little bit less comfortable for Fnatic is there. And you've still got 50 seconds until first Baron spawn, so we're not exactly in a position where you can just blow open the game as Na'Vi, but it is about controlling that space, looking for dragons, trying to dictate where Fnatic can go over the next 8 minutes, and hope that then you can close the game out as you get into a position where you can threaten things like Baron.
Ulti gonna be used. LEC. He has found no one, but Losper did indeed flash away from a Poby scout of the week. So in front of the Baron, opportunities start arising with some of those summoners down to try and abuse Losper again, but
it's any of those choke points.
Yeah.
3k tiền vẫn thế thôi. Vẫn chưa có sự khác biệt. Này tí nữa SMC lượt phát nhỉ.
On Navi spots, you're just dead. Like, you don't have any real follow-up, especially as you say with the flash now burnt. It's very hard for Fnatic to contest a Navi that has a lead like this and is willing to group up and look for picks.
As potential turns 1v1 into 1v2. Manta took this play, but Megana buffered. Manta gets out with a public execution, but for now, Bloody Charm misses.
Bắt thằng Master lại. Đủ đam không? Ném gạch hụt. Upset đến ăn rồi. Mất trụ giữa. Alo à? Hello em trai nhé.
Time for Na'Vi. They get the mid lane tier 2. Poby's putting in work on this top side as well. Burning the flash on Imperos too, just before Dragon, is perfect to let Poby and Sam D play more aggressive, knowing that Nar cannot get in on top of them.
Manta comes back alive, he will have TP, and that'll be for the Dragon play. 40 seconds as the resets are going to come through from Na'Vi after the inner turret drops down. Outer turret will drop on the bottom side. Thank you, observers.
Hai đều.
Minions. But all about this third Dragon it now will be as Cloud spawning. 25 seconds. Fnatic need to stop the stacking. Otherwise, Na'Vi will have more conditions in their favor for the second game.
Thing is, though, Poby's back out on the map, pushing in that bottom side. TP now to meet the rest of his team in mid. And Na'Vi, incredibly strong right now. Fnatic, this game becomes so much more difficult with Imperos not having flash. You would have loved to have that flash engage on the Nar.
Nào, upset. Thôi xong rồi. Ơ may quá, thằng mình hụt kìa, nhưng mà vẫn bắt được Zarok. Tốc biến đi, vẫn chưa chạy, vẫn đang chạy được nhá. Vẫn sống kìa. Vẫn sống mà.
Much worse as third Dragon now comes into question.
Little bit of missed timings on Navi's side though means that Fnatic will get to find another game. Date, Losper going to continue to heal on up.
And Bros going into Mega Knight, he's found out at half HP. Bloody gets over the wall, beautiful charm onto Paris stunner.
Bà rất thấp máu này. Bà rất vẫn chạy được. Trời sập ra. Em bị rút lên bảng rồi. Rồng nó ăn đến Zarok. Trừng phạt tốt và Zarok khả năng chết. Mất 2 lấy được con rồng. Bắt LEC à? LEC choáng tốt này. Master lao lên và đi thấp máu. Toác rồi.
Charms, but they just can't find the engage. And with that flash down on Imperos, you can see Na'Vi just dipping and diving their way in and out of the fight, finding and fishing for these plays. And LEC just corrals Fnatic into the perfect spot with Mainter jumping in with the flash, and Poby soon to follow.
LEC, the angle beautiful, the Poby follow-up exceptional, and Baron goes down. This time, fate is definitely rising faster for Na'Vi as they get the Baron at 23 minutes in the game.
You're looking at 3 items now for Sam D, soon to follow for Poby. The presence that Na'Vi now have on this map is going to be felt heavily by Fnatic. And again, they just don't really have the tools to try and fish for plays. It relies on Vladdy looking for these charms, and he did his damnedest in the last fight as Razork felt the breeze from that one go past the tail.
Oh, yeah. Poby means more business now as Sam D aggresses upon the mid lane as well. Top wave pushing in thanks to Mainter as he thinks about grouping up, but the pings are going up saying push this wave. We're going to transition to top. Vladdy is soloing out bot wave in the meantime as objective bounty is much needed for Fnatic to even think about getting back in this game. But this top turret is not long for the world, and the Baron power play presented to you by Red Bull will crest over 1,000 gold, but still has 2 minutes to prove its worth even more.
7-2 thua 5 cắt tiền này.
Looking for that bottom tier 2. The pressure is already starting to mount, and again, I think for Fnatic, they have good pick opportunities. Like we saw in the last game what they could achieve with that if someone is overextended. And with the charm, with what Razor can try and get, even the follow-up that's there from Lospa, there are windows of opportunities. But it's on Na'Vi making a mistake, and right now they are grouped. You can see LEC covering for Poby in the mid lane. Paris covering the bot, but maybe once more.
Big charm doesn't connect. Orbital Deception going to tickle Paris's feet, but Na'Vi, as they push up the bottom lane, they now know one less ulti down to threaten the defense that Fnatic have to mount.
I mean, there's a decent chance. Decent shot, but they just couldn't quite find it. Fnatic under their tower. You've got Sam D, who's going to just continue to take pop shots at the structure.
Razor can't really survive this much range. Sam D keeps unleashing as the wave is slowly but surely cleared. A good charm on the minion that will land an Orbital Deception. Fnatic
vẫn đép đến từ Fnatic.
I like how Na'Vi are playing this though. They're using LEC with that Baron buff to push in mid, knowing that he can ult underneath the tower at any time, but Razor caught.
Đạp cháp à? Thằng Zarok bị hành quyết công khai. Hồn gió tốt này, nhưng mà sát thương dồn vào đủ không? Đủ này. Ơ, déjà vu à?
A bit overambitious with the play.
That cosmic binding may have just saved the play from Paris, because Fnatic saw their moment. Flashbacks to game 1.
Mày flashback game 1 à? Game 1 cũng thế ấy. Cũng chết một thằng chết ở đấy, thằng xin giao ấy. Xong rồi thua ấy.
But the Dragon stopping again in this game gives me deja vu, because Fnatic have once again got time. They've got a lifeline. We talked about the scaling maybe not being as favored as synonymous as it was last game, but Fnatic still have the pick tools. They still have the potential to find Na'Vi caught napping. 45 seconds to find out if this Dragon brings them back in the game, as there is a bit of focus on top side for now.
And it is starting to feel a little bit like this weekend has revitalized Vladdy. He's kind of the one again your eyes are drifting to, and he's the one again that is nearly making those plays happen. And with the Ahri, the charms could be on point. Flash going to be up very soon for him, and that could be his moment to try and fish for some.
Game 1 còn có con Victor chứ, cái mày không biết lấy gì ra đánh với chúng nó luôn anh à? Mày biết đéo về gì về game mà em? Sủa đéo thế này em.
Na'Vi have to defend and oppose them away from that dragon, but everyone on Fnatic are up here. Looks like they want to try and go for two structures instead of dragons.
Paris can negate a potential dive though. His ulti's back up and available as Baron's not up for now. It is just this focus in the river, as you say. Poby tries to zone them off, but Fnatic move 4 members in total. Vladdy's going to hold onto mid-wave. Na'Vi continue to encroach and try and stop this push, because again, objective bounties for Fnatic remain up and standing, and with all the built-up Genomite on the turret, it is very easy to take down some of these outers.
This feels like kind of the last-ditch effort for Fnatic in this one. Vladdy,
he's found, he goes over blind, but he's on a ward. He now brings out the Spirit Rush, has to use all of it to get on out. Double TP, which means Fnatic are now stuck in this position with no Meganar. Frost almost cooks the goose. But the problem is, Dragon's there regardless.
6k, gian rồng này, chắc bỏ rồng rồi.
Find a win with the objective in their pocket.
Yeah, and I was about to say, I feel like this was the last kind of play that Fnatic had, because you're looking at the items that are coming through. Poby very close to that Rabadon's death cap. The last Whisper about to be completed for Sam D. This is where you just teeter into that late game territory for Na'Vi on their carries, and it's very difficult for Fnatic to really try and contest.
Điêu ấy lồn, địt mẹ mày. Anh em thấy điêu ấy lồn không? Vãi lồn con MF3 thì con mẹ điêu thật. 2 quạt chết con mẹ đội hình mình. Sàm lồn thật.
Before the Baron gets thought about, he has TP available, so on the minimap right now he is pinging to go to the top lane in level 16 Syndra with 113 stacks, 120 remember as well for the AP increases. Sam D has to be careful about his face check. I guess this game, Dagda, he does have a bit more range, so Sam D happily can just throw abilities into the cloud.
He does have a bit more range, but no cleanse, no Mikhails, like that's nerdy.
Cộng 400 cút rồi, xin tha ba đi á. Đeo mẹ mấy giờ còn ngồi đây xem LOL, đéo hiểu luôn. Arsenal nó đang đá với Tottenham đéo xem.
Đổ lên, đấy là một cái thông số cho thấy những số họ vừa công được mà họ vừa thủ rất dở.
Ủa địch các bạn 1-0 rồi à? Lồn đấy.
2 trận trong tổng
Xong rồi, thắng
mà
rồi.
không chạm được 3 bàn trở lên, đó là
No, they're going past it. Bit of vision around the outskirts here. Scrying ward spots out. Ace in the hole into Razork. Nice little block. Fnatic controlling vision, buying time. Deep ward's going to spot out this movement to top side as Poby continues to push in bot.
Yeah, I think Sam D still needs to reset though, so I think it'll be matched here as they clear out these waves.
Yeah.
And then go for the reset because he should have that last.
Bọn ấy lâu nhỉ, địt mẹ mày hơn 8k tiền từ phút 23 24 tầm này vẫn thế thôi. Còn bị giảm tiền luôn. Bọn lồn này đánh chán lìn.
Getting any sort of vision around this objective.
Light needs to clear this wave. Scout of the week is good. LEC hovers over the wall. Orbit deception for the minion, and the turret will stay standing. A good scrying bloom on the ground will spot Na'Vi around the area as Fnatic are making movements up into the top side. They want to open up Empross so he can get some turret plating up here as Mainta jumps forward. There's really no damage from Empross, even with Hyper. As at least one plating for Empross feels nice for the Na. That is at 2 items.
Yeah, Fnatic, I think they were hoping they could make some sort of play, but Mainter not willing to bite here as he knows that the rest of his team is on reset.
Yep.
Now they start to shift up towards that top side, knowing that there's a very high chance Fnatic are camping out somewhere in this river.
Losper cancels the back. There was a Bard on the way up very quickly, and that was probably a smart idea. Going to base together. Losper backs away. Empross gets out safely. Dragon, 2 minutes. It does feel like we again are hovering over to that mark.
Vẫn đang defend nhá, vẫn đang đép tốt nhá. 3 đầu rưỡi từ con Corki.
You can see around the left side of the pit there, all the way at the back. Thank you so much, observers. There's one Fnatic ward there that's deep as Na'Vi
Ăn Baron Na'Vi.
with its scrying ward spotting out the beginning.
Ui, dẻo đấy.
You got push already on bot lane for Vladdy. He needs to reset, and this Baron is not long for the world.
6k, 5k, 4k, way too quick. Razork needs to get in the pit.
Kéo giạc rồi, mất Baron rồi. Dẫu đạp cháp chết luôn rồi. Hết cửa ấy. Emberot hết mẹ máu luôn với chạy được. Bít cửa luôn. Khuếch tan, đéo trúng à. Ê, thấp máu kìa.
And it's everything that they could have hoped for. Because as this starts off, Paris, this tempered fate was insane. So manages to get himself pushed out by the Skarner so he can escape with the magical journey. Mainter with the follow-up finishes off at finishes off Razork thanks to the ultimate from the Syndra. And LEC just trying to put pressure down here as best he can. Fnatic managed to scarp her, but still Na'Vi now going to start putting pressure on towards inhibitor turrets.
Vun gió trượt hết à?
Na'Vi with Baron number 2. Surely this is how it ends now. This Baron play needs to start cresting into the base and destroying some of those inhibitor turrets as Razork, that's where he'll have to defend with the rest of Fnatic. 15 seconds for the Drake. This will be Soul for Na'Vi. And considering they have 80% of the map
Giữa trụ trên này, đéo để làm gì luôn.
As right now that was Fnatic's view, a little bit tilted to the left. As Empross does get top lane turret, gets a bit of gold, but your base is breaking very fast.
There's just no response. Fnatic struggling desperately to find the engages that they want to. Razork steps forward, looking for Paris.
Lao qua này. Ui, thằng Vladdy làm đéo đấy. Đẩy 2 tốt này. Ơ. 2 mạng ngon. Emberot làm quả đẩy 2 ngon chưa? Vẫn đang rất căng nha. Phân tích ác. Gian rồng luôn. Tele có hay quá.
But again, huge plays from Vladdy. Goes over the wall, gets the charm on LEC, which then opens up this opportunity to spread Na'Vi thin, and Imperos pounces.
There's no way Na'Vi lose an over 6K gold lead 2 games in a row today, right? There's no way.
Stranger things have happened, my friend. And it may be just maybe.
I don't know if they have.
But still, I mean, look, Na'Vi have control. Like, you have Sam D in a very good spot.
Yeah.
You're starting to get like Poby now with the Seeker's arm guard completed.
Cái 4 đồ đến từ Corky này.
Position where if Fnatic try and look for something like that, it's going to be more difficult. And you can also see how hard that was for Fnatic to make that.
Con Baron không có quá nhiều tác dụng nhé. Bình thường thôi. Ăn được một siêu cấp. Nhưng mà tiền thì vẫn âm. Rồi tốc biến luôn rồi. Vladi mất phi hồ.
He flies in with his GA, ready to die, ready to set up Na'Vi to move this to game 3. As you said, it's still a hard game for Fnatic. Holding on to their base is step 1. Catching out Na'Vi is step 2. As they've flown in to get this mid inhibitor, add more pressure. While no objectives are up and available, Na'Vi still pursue their approach. Razov sends out a rock. Empross half the way to Meganar. Slowed down is LEC, but still healthy enough.
Vladdy's the only member with flash, and immediately Na'Vi focus him down. Half HP of the Ahri has to go back to base. We should open up Na'Vi now to start to get this mid inhibitor. Imperial's moving over just to try and keep some pressure, but they have to play keep away on both mid and top side.
He's seen on Meganar, and that time is going to run out, so Na'Vi not going to make the same mistake. Especially can't find the angle. Upset's going to get cleansed away. Sammy does get poked, as you say, in a dangerous position. Fnatic are like, hang on, we can go forward.
Sammy thấp máu này. Lao lên bị choáng Emerald bắn luôn. Ủi luôn, giết thằng nó, giết nó. Mất GA này. Thằng Vladi bọc đầu, hôn gió em. Địt mẹ lại hụt. Rồi đéo hy vọng lồn cái thằng Vladi này. Ngon, shut down cho Upset. Ai làm NBA không à? Có. Mai bận đấy.
They keep trying to overforce. They keep going too far, and Fnatic are punishing.
They let their guard down because they see the Gnar, and then Vladi TPs this time. Next time you'll have the TP up on Empross, and they'll do it again. I mean, this is dangerous territory. 3,000 gold, the only lead. Tagged up. Baron number 3 is up in a minute. Dragon Soul for Na'Vi that's been denied is up in 2.
And flashes coming up for Fnatic. The ability to find ways to bypass the front line of Na'Vi is crucial to them. They've been doing it with teleports. Now they have another summoner spell in their arsenal. Guys drift to Imperos. They drift to Vladi. These two solo laners for Fnatic could find the moment to shut that door on Na'Vi once and for all.
I'm committed to the idea now that Vladi is thriving on the hatred, on the booing, on the S-talk that's being thrown out towards his way. He might only be 1-1-2. There's been some glorious moments so far. There
has been some
picks and that bottom lane inhibitor, even there for the flank. He sets up.
Em chả biết được mai làm trận hawk mà. Khi nào gần đánh em mới chơi cơ. Chịu anh em ạ, đau đầu á. Em có đánh bạc nhiều đâu. Giờ em ít đánh bạc rồi.
A lot thrown out as Empross heads towards Meganar, and Na'Vi are backing off. Charm? Boy, close.
Imperos though, gone mega. This is where the Fnatic want to try and find their moment. Poby with the scout of the week on towards Razork will keep him at bay as Imperos wants to step forward, but just can't find the angle.
I see a Pantheon in the distance with ulti available. He wants
nào lật kéo đi, 2-0 đi. 2-0 luôn cho rực rỡ nhỉ. Khuếch tàn kỳ yếu này. Không giết được Emerald rồi. Và người nằm lại là vị trí của Syndra. Bây giờ thì Emerald vẫn đang sống nha, nhưng mà nằm xuống đến từ vị trí Nami rồi. Upset thì sao, đổ được không? Upset vẫn đang công. Upset khó à? Hồn gió hụt khi mà đối phương tốc biến. Nào tìm Emerald, choáng Emerald. Ok, chắc là end game thôi anh em ạ. Đẩy thẳng qua khu vực giữa end game thôi. Đang đi tìm con Ahri. Về đó. Đéo về được rồi. Đéo về được rồi. Bú nhá. Cộng 6 cho 5 bú nhá. Bảo diễn 3 game không tin á, nhưng mà có thua đâu. Cộng 600 có thua đâu.
It is not clean, League of Legends Medic. But no one's saying it's bad. I mean, we're having a fun time. The early game's slow, just so we can pace ourselves into this roller coaster of emotion that happens 20 minutes afterwards.
I'm saying it's bad. I'm very much happy to say that League of Legends was not good.
Okay,
Na'Vi
okay,
was
no, I'm gonna fight you. No, I'm gonna
Na'Vi
fight
was
you.
7,000 gold ahead.
I'm gonna fight you.
Bring it.
He's gonna fight you.
Bring it, man. You think you can take me?
Physically, no. Mentally, absolutely.
Obviously.
The early game was fantastic from Na'Vi.
Yes,
and then the way they moved around the map, the way that they took objectives, the way they played dragon fights, absolutely very clean. I think Na'Vi deserve that credit. I like their approach to the game, and I love the way that they started this game off. It was just at a certain point, Fnatic magic happened. Yes, that's how we're gonna brand it. The Fnatic magic.
It wasn't enough though. They still lost.
Yes, but you're seeing it. You know, you're seeing sprinkles, the dust, the Fnatic magic dust.
Speaking of dust, I mean, I want to talk a little bit about what you said, because I agree with Veri. The Na'Vi Ascension, the Na'Vi goal lead was very organic. It was very organic, very locally produced.
I'll quickly say.
But then we saw.
No, very quickly. He can agree with you, but do you really want to associate yourself with a guy that forgot to take his tag off?
I'm a novice, okay? Look, I want to talk.
We didn't notice.
You had too many cupboards, man. You were distracted.
I want to talk a little bit about that goal in the Na'Vi generator, right? Because it was very organic, homegrown. But then came the synthetic GMO modified dives that just keeps happening in this series, because Real Edge, he sees something in that bot lane tier 2 and main tier this game.
Yes.
There's just the Fnatic bush has now evolved into the Fnatic tier 3 bottom, because every single time they come back, it's around that tier 2. And I don't know what they have planted down there, if there's some claymores in the ground, if there's some kind of things in the grass there, because it's something that just makes people go absolutely ludicrous and just dives them, and it just keeps working.
It was very similar in the past on the bot lane tier 2 when Red Side is pushing in. Often we saw people diving that tier 2 and dying. So maybe it's just something to do with that lane when you have Baron that you just need to avoid it. Na'Vi were able to get ahead in the early game, as we said. They had a couple of really good dragon fights where their team fighting was actually very fun to watch. If we ignore the 7k to 2.5k gold lead, it really shouldn't have happened. Let's have a look back to some of the earlier portions of the game.
I think that the way Na'Vi approached a lot of these fights was very good. Some of the criticism I've given of Na'Vi is sometimes their coordination looks a little bit off. And the way they started this fight, I think they largely took advantage of the way that Upset misplayed the fight more so than their approach. But once they repositioned, even though they were a man down, they outplayed a lot of the plays that Fnatic were trying to make, regrouped, and were able to fight back and secure the dragon.
I share that sentiment. To me, that fight was pure hand stiff from Na'Vi. I feel like they just executed better in a micro manner. And this fight as well, they catch out Emperors on the side, and Bloody doesn't really have a good flank here. Bloody's playing front to back Ahri, which rarely turns out well. I would love to see him go from the other angle there and try to sneak into the back line, but when your Ahri ults in and uses the charm on the Bard that doesn't even die, it really sets a bad tone for the following of the fight, because now Fnatic just left here without anything. Razork manages to get the dragon, but he gets cancelled by the scatter, and here is just a slow chase, and Rita just thinks he's caught, but he cleans up this fight.
I will admit, in the game, I didn't think about it, but now watching back these replays, I feel like this was a bit of foreshadowing for the outcome of the game, because the more I watch, the more I am seeing some of this coordination problems spring for Na'Vi, where I do feel like that in some of these fights, the reason why they're coming out ahead is because of the gold lead that they've already been able to generate. So I do feel that for Na'Vi, I need to see slightly crisper play from them, because similar to what we saw yesterday, the early games have not been their problem at all.
Yeah.
I think that they know exactly how to play lanes. They've got good, solid laners. They know how to enable Relech. Relech returns that in kind back to the lanes, and that's where a lot of their fundamental gold leads come from. But then, in the mid-game, I feel like some of their approach to teamfights are a little bit shaky, and then also the way in which they try to close out games is also, it's awkward. It does feel like that Fnatic are... they are remaining calm in these situations, and they're looking for opportunities to bounce back. And again, we saw it in this game, similar to last game, where they're able to punish these small oversteps.
Got it, Na'Vi shifters. Thank you. You talked a lot. You said a lot of things there.
They won the game.
They won the game.
Win the game. Yes, exactly.
I mean, they did come back because I feel like what Navi didn't do in game 1 and why they lost game 1 was because they couldn't refocus. At least this game, to some degree, they managed to refocus in that chaotic late game where they lost their 7k gold. It was turned out to like 1.8k.
Yeah.
They did find that crucial fight on the mid wave that actually finalized the game. So it comes down to just here as well. They're starting Baron, they're zoning Razork. They're doing good plays when they are planned. But the moment they go off script, I feel like something in Navi just goes really, really, really wrong. I feel like they're just so used to playing it by the book, doing it organically, homegrown. But when they have to do something extracurricular, that's not the right word, but extra terrestrial, no, that's not the right word either.
It's also
some extra word. They just lose the lose the plot.
This series has shown to me that, number one, the main reason why I've put Na'Vi at like that 5th, 6th position so far this split is because there is that something missing to push them into that top 4, which is fine, especially for a relatively young team that only came together this year. The other thing that it showed to me is Fnatic are exceeding my expectations quite a lot. Because, no, you have to admit that they are making it much harder for teams. Think about how Na'Vi have beaten the other bottom teams. Fnatic have made it much harder for Na'Vi to close out compared to what we've been seeing.
I think the important clarifier we need here, Vedi.
Yeah.
What were your expectations of Fnatic
They were
coming
like
into
low.
the
They were low.
Were they like bottom, or were they just, oh, they're probably our 7th best team?
Well, I think that they, I think at times, actually it's really hard between Heretic, Shifters and Fnatic, but they were all there. I thought that Fnatic was worse than SK. That was my impression coming into the weekend. I mean, even after their victory against G2, I still didn't have high expectations.
They did then lose to SK, so it makes sense.
Right,
that
I mean, that probably
that, right?
also furthered, so that's why. I did have very low expectations for Fnatic, so I guess I am pleasantly, sorry, I apologize. It was a strong P. I'm pleasantly surprised by how well Fnatic have been doing in these very specific moments.
Sure.
Like, at least they're showing resilience. They're not just rolling over and dying, and they are still, like, it's 1-1. They can still win this series.
I mean, it's kind of the rabbit versus the turtle in this series, I feel like. I mean, I think Navi is the rabbit, and Fnatic is the turtle, and they won game 1 by just turtle maxing, just staying there and waiting, doing the whole round.
Right, and that's how the story goes, you're right.
And then in the game 2, the rabbit actually came out ahead, despite taking all that side missions going on the tour.
Okay.
So I want to see what happens in game 3, because I have no idea what's going to happen in game 3. From seeing these 2 games, I can really see it going either way.
Okay, can you really see it going either way?
Yes.
Because I feel like you've seen the evolution of Na'Vi saying, okay, we can get ahead, and then we threw. And now we get ahead, and we threw a little bit, but we still won the game.
Then a 7k goal lead that turned out to 1.8k.
And they still won the game. So my thought is, do Na'Vi not just get ahead and then actually just close out the game, and Fnatic don't really manage to do anything to stop them from closing out the game?
Potentially. But at the end of the day, it's what Fnatic have demonstrated to me is that they do have a better late game than Na'Vi do. Na'Vi just has a better early game, and then the mid game is where everything is a bit woo. So really, we're just kind of waiting for that mid game to see how things shake up. Do you believe in the turtle or the hare? Is the tortoise? I should say.
So how do you fix? How do you fix it? We've got the drafts in both the games so far. If you want to fix mid-game for both these teams, really, like Fnatic's late game is solid and Na'Vi's late game was okay. Like, how do you fix mid-game to make it easier? Finn, you take Na'Vi, if that's okay. How do you fix Na'Vi's mid-game here?
I mean, clearly to me, the crucial factor in the mid-game is the woo! And I feel like what Na'Vi needs to do is just make sure that Relich and Parus go for vision together and don't overextend. It's usually these dives you see. They get really excited when they find a chunk, when they find a pick. But if they just learn to take the small pieces, Wild Turtle used to always say that, don't go for the whole chicken, go for the drumstick.
And that would explain it, the turtle versus the hare. It's Wild Turtle who gives the advice.
I think that Na'Vi, to me, need to go back to the style that has worked for them a lot of this year, which is slap main to back on a tank. Get him on that Scion, get him on the Ornn, and then you get Relich onto something like the Aatrox or the Zehen. That, to me, is the best and most coordinated version of Na'Vi that we see. Meanwhile, for Fnatic, I think that they've put a lot of the engage responsibility onto Razork. I wouldn't be against Lost, but going back to an engaged support. Now that range champs have moved out of the meta, Alistair, Nautilus, these type of champions may very well be the thing that better enables Losper to set up his team for success.
Yeah, not out of the meta, but out of the pool.
Yes.
Importantly,
Sorry,
right? Like,
that is what I meant. My apologies.
That's fine. We're on the same wavelength, even if no one at home can understand you. We're going to go to a short break before we come back with Game 3 of this series. The first 3-game series of the weekend. Who will come out on top? Will it be the tortoise? Will it be the hare? Or will it be all of us? Let's find out after this.
We'll be there.
I think hard. Go scanner, don't change and look, I can look. Queen 5. 4, 3, 2. I'll give portal. It's okay. Gunners. He's a niche. I look on the Syndra. Yeah, I have a big ult. Both of them. Get Dragon, guys. Okay, guys. Our first win on stage. I think we should be happy. Yeah. Well played, clean. Well played.
Want to find your fastest server every time? Express like a pro and optimize your connection in one tap. Express in game without ISP throttling. Express and shield yourself from DDoS attacks. Express and choose the VPN trusted by gamers everywhere. Express VPN. Experience gaming the Express way. Fast, stable, competitive. Outplay the world. It's time to Express. Unlock free Hextech rewards, exclusive skins, and more. Scan to subscribe.
The human body was built to move. Not trapped at a desk in one singular posture for 12 hours a day. It's time your chair evolved. This is Secret Lab Titan Evo. Ergonomically engineered for you, gamers, hybrid workers, artists, backing your every move.
Don't What team played the most games in total for LEC versus, and how many games?
Oof, that's a tough one.
Oh my god, I should have watched playoff.
It's probably Casey or G2.
It's someone who went to loser bracket, so it's Casey.
I think this is Casey.
I think it's probably Casey, right?
Then I'm gonna say Casey. Played a lot in playoff.
Casey. It's so regular season first. Mathematics.
Regular season was 11 games.
3 games G2, 5 games, 4 games Vitality.
10.
Let's go 27.
24.
I would say 26.
33 games.
I guess Casey, 31 games.
31? 31 games. Casey with like 31 games. Quick maths.
I mean, I can't even count that well. Well done to our players as we get you to game 3 in an arena that, you know, was kind of cheering for Na'Vi to, you know, smash this in the first game and the second game. They got disappointed after the first game, but hey, in the last one, let's just be real. Na'Vi actually put the pieces together finally and won the game.
I mean, it still took them a while, though. Like,
Took them a while.
Like, it didn't look as clean as you would hope to, and especially because a lot of that conversation coming into this weekend was Na'Vi showing us what they're worth, elevate yourself. It hasn't really been what we've seen from them at all. Like, in all honesty, this felt like a step back for them, of course, across this series.
I mean, Na'Vi this split, I mean, I think have been a disappointment so far, just simply because we had these high expectations. We talked about the development in Versus, how exciting they could be to be like, oh, you are stepping into the top 4. Today, so far, a performance like that doesn't fill us with confidence. Now, Medic did say bad gameplay on the desk.
Yeah.
I was beating around the bush because I think in some ways, the early game was pretty clean. And in that sense, it was very good. But their ability to convert it in mid-game has been a bit rubbish. I've been, in my ear, delayed due to spinach. I think I miss
spinach. Like Popeye? I know we got The Rock, but I don't think we have Popeye.
I heard spinach again, producer. If you would like to repeat. Water is spillage.
Spillage.
I heard spinach. I thought someone's eating spinach.
I love the idea. More in my head was the idea like someone has popped a can of spinach and you've never Kobe Popeye. It's just got like massive arms, knocked everything over the desk. It's like, but instead, no, there's been a spillage on the Fnatic side of things, it looks like, unfortunately. So it'll be taking a little bit of time.
Yo, it's Lospa. Oh dear. Upset looks a little bit annoyed. Yeah, bro, you got some on mine. Yeah. you got some on my my keyboard, man. Coaches comparing notes saying, yeah, if we put cups on the lids on the cups. Yeah. Hang on. Grabs,
do we have to go for the sippy cup? Is that?
Grabs, you think sippy cup? What do you think? Yeah, I guess if we give them a sippy cup, that might work. Hang on, let's.
But what if we just make the lid smaller, so then they just have to sip out of it?
Meanwhile, I mean, Na'Vi here, they already know. They're talking about straws now. Like, you know, we know straws. That's why they're so chill. I mean, Fnatic, look, if this game, if a spillage or spinach is the worst thing that happens to you, then
I think losing could be worse. Personally.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If that's the worst thing to happen, then everything else is great.
Yeah, because again, like, this is a kind of must-win game for Fnatic. Not in that it's going to knock them out, but they definitely need a little bit of help there. Oh, is this a replay?
Yeah, it is a replay. Oh, it was upset. It was upset. Hang on a minute. That's why he was twisting his hand. Yeah, Lospa. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I said mean things to you. It was Upset's fault. Well, let's hope that doesn't get in the way of synergy as we get into game 3. Here we go. Pick and ban. Keyboard's no longer wet. Mouse are dry. Hands on the table in the correct position as we find out what variety we're going to get in this final game.
You see, though, already, this is what we were talking about from Na'Vi. The Lulu ban needed because the Corki Nami has already been taken, which means that it becomes a very difficult game to play into something like the Lulu Yunara. Now, we still have seen Yunara paired with things like the Nico. It's just less potent than when it's paired with the Lulu. So, still to see. Like, I still think Yunara will probably be somewhere in this ban phase, or sorry, in this draft phase. Just may not be first priority.
I want to raise the possibility of things like the Lucian comparison drafts because we've had Lucian Milio pop up a lot in the East. Obviously, the East difference
as well.
Yep, Sam D. I mean, we're talking about Korean AD carry and a German AD carry as well, who kind of has that spark. So with Lulu gone as well, we start going down that tier list now. I'm glad you talked about Yunara. It's a really important point. Those AD carries seem to be first pickable as crowds popping off. don't know what's happening in the background, but they're getting a little bit spicy with the way this series is going. They've been sitting a little bit too long. The legs are getting a little bit jittery. They're seeing LeBlanc bands. I'm like, oh man, this draft as well makes us want to dance.
Well, Rumble and Wukong, still two very strong picks that are left up and available. Mentor could immediately go towards the Rumble here, unless they do want to try and prioritize the Yunara. Again, less potent without that Enchanter beside her, so I'd imagine it'll be a drift over towards something like the Rumble here in this case.
I'm going to get a Zia instead, but you're right about the Rumble priority. I feel like Fnatic, that's an easy take as well. There goes Rumble. There's no Jarvan to pair with it.
Yone.
That is a slam of a Yone from Vladdy. Can you imagine a crowd that boos you? Every single person makes that sound, and you decided you're going to pull out your first Yone of the split right in front of them.
But it's not the first time he's played it, right? Vladdy very strong on the Yone, and again, pairs very well with opening up a strong top side for Fnatic. Good side lanes, the ability to skirmish, and this kind of wombo combo, if you do end up adding the Wukong in after this, I think could be incredibly strong. I think for Na'Vi, I was going to say, I don't think you want to go for the Nocturne here. Instead, trying to go for the Zahan. So early skirmishing, the name of the game here again for Na'Vi.
On the Yone, Vladdy, 20 and 11 in total. His most played at 31 games. Obviously, Azir is his most played by a lot. But Yone slots in third. So comfort here for Vladdy. Further to your point is, we talked about tank. Zahan was a flex for the time being. But yeah, Sion, not the vein.
Yeah, so if I'm Fnatic, I think I slam either the Wukong or Xayah. I think the fact that you have, slam the Wukong, ban away Xayah on this next rotation, because for Samdi and Paris, you want something that's going to have a lot of self-peel, and with Ezreal already gone, Caitlyn gone, a lot of the kind of long-range champions gone, Xayah then becomes the next big target to try and take off the board, so you can find value from this wombo combo that you're setting up.
You said it, there's the Wukong slam. Let's see the Xayah ban. And then not only, chat, will I pat Dagger on the back, I might give him a hug later on as well, for being so correct all the time.
But yeah, I think just trying to get rid of that cue. And that's a little shoulder rub.
I am waiting for the Xayah ban, but you're going to get a shoulder rub now.
But I do think, yeah, I think trying to ban 80 carries that have that self-peel, at least get rid of the Xayah. I don't think there's too much left. Maybe you are nervous about the Lucian slam here, as at least he has that dash as well. But I think that's kind of where my eyes would drift to. For Navi's side of things, I think banning away the supports is probably more important here to try and keep yourself in a decent spot.
Supports that can follow up on the engage, right? Like, again, we talked about enchanters as a mix. Things like Milio would be higher prior if the Lucian was there as a pairing. You did also talk about something like the Yunara, a really good spot earlier on, the priority of that 80 carry. They're thinking about it on the side of Na'Vi, I'm sure. And there, okay. That's you pulled that out, but the 80 carry pool, as you said, is going lower and lower. Xayah was when you pulled
Đá 26.5 chill.
When you have so much dive and layering.
Đợi xuống tại 25 nhé.
Silly not to, because even then, like, so many of your champions are nullified by Rakan in this sort of situation as well. And Rakan can do relatively well with the limited enchanter pool now there, especially with Lulu, who's his big problem in a lot of these matchups as well. With the Nautilus.
Do you take the Xayah then?
Maybe that's the call, yeah. Like, Rakan can work very well with a lot of this follow-up as well, so maybe they're angling for that Xayah Rakan instead for themselves, which could definitely be an option here.
Yeah, you'd lose one part of the pairing if they want to take it away on Na'Vi's side, but 5 seconds for Paris to decide here. And 80 carries have been sent westward. They're just not coming back in this game, in this series. Kai'Sa gone now as well. If they don't take the Xayah here, they forfeit the 80 carry. They get Nico. Fnatic were more about the pairing of the engage. Maybe Xayah just overlooked here in this game. I mean, now that you're going to pick it up.
I mean, my eyes would have gone towards the Xayah here. It's just something that strong team fighting and the ability to peel for itself. I'm not liking the MF here. I don't think you've got enough setup for, like, you could probably go for some sort of engaged champion here, like the Rel or the Rakan if you want to try and set up. But there it is, yeah. Xayah, Rakan, gonna be the next. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you. And you called it. You literally called this draft from the start. Xayah Rakan now locked in for Na'Vi, which feels like the best way to negate all this Fnatic dive, all this Fnatic backline access. Sivir to pair up. What do you think of Fnatic?
I think for Fnatic, it's very simple what they want to do, right?
It is, yeah.
They just want to dive in and just deal as much damage as possible across the line. But when you look at Na'Vi, I think they've got good answers into a lot of that. You've got the mobility of an Azir, the Xayah we were already talking about, the ability to go up with the Featherstorm and keep yourself safe. And you've got good bruisers, but also Rakan, very good into short-range compositions, because he can get a ton of value from just running around with the quickness. And when you've got a triple melee composition, and with Nico who wants to play short-range and Sivir who's relatively short-range, Fnatic, I think, can struggle into what Na'Vi have drafted here.
Plus as well, let's not forget Sivir into Rakan. Rakan can dive in, he's got quickness up and available. You're getting hit by the knock-up W, or you're getting hit by the quickness. That spell shield ain't blocking both, and I feel like it is a valid point when the versatility of the support is now the discussion here. But Na'Vi have a very simple comp, it seems. You know, you talk about Fnatic's identity, it's like, we know what they want to do. But for Na'Vi, their ability to execute here as well ain't going to be that hard when they've got a front to back, when they've got utilization from their own carries, like mobility from the Azir, Samdi with that ulti to stay alive as well. Na'Vi have drafted themselves a composition in game number 3.
Chan má gì em tài kill anh. Tài kill tài kill 25.5.
Fnatic have tested them past that 20-minute mark every single damn game so far.
And when you look at what has been successful for Fnatic, it has been trying to find those picks inside lanes. And at least for Fnatic, this comp plays very well if you can get position on sides. Vladdy going to be very strong, and Pyro's going to be able to push against Mainter. And I think that's where you can find the success for Fnatic in playing on sides, especially because Upset, a ton of clear in this Sivir. Like, if you can allow Lospa to roam, maybe these plays on sides are Fnatic's way to push this to the finish line.
Let's see how these lanes go first. We know for Poby, he'll have a bit of range advantage and be able to play through the early levels of this lane until Bloody has a bit more all-in threat. You know, Razork needs to rush to level 6, but also we'll say for Relech, it's not like he has the fastest pace early game either. As junglers start on the opposite sides of each other, there will be a ward spotting out Razork as he moves down towards...
Xiển từ Bobby này.
I don't call them Raptors anymore. In my head, it's Razorbeaks because I listen to Medic so much. And now it throws me off massively. I don't know why. Razorbeaks. I mean, technically.
I mean, the Raptors were the first ones.
Yeah. Raptors were.
There's been, it's just been, it's a holdover, right? Like, it's like Taba, Ninja Taba, you know? Instead of plated steel caps, which I always have to double check myself.
Some people still call them like wraiths, right?
Yeah.
Even though the camp is not wraiths, but still, it's like, that's where they were.
Yeah. Remember when Red Bull used to have 2 little minions beside us?
2 minions beside it, yeah. Those were the days, weren't it? The league's changed a lot. I mean, it's been around for 16 years.
Yeah. That's mad.
It is.
I've been playing this game for a long while.
I think it's Venius is saying on cast last week, and I'm pretty sure we've all said, there are champions that are older than some of the player base, you know? Like Anivia, for example, right? Like Annie, for example. Yeah, there's a lot of old champions now.
I mean, Sion as well in this game.
Oh, I remember my favorite Sion, obviously the previous iteration, when he went AP and his E stun had AP scaling and you just half health someone.
With a point and click ability.
Yes. I mean, my favorite of all time was Fiddlesticks. Fiddlesticks was the best champion before the
support.
Because the Dark Wind bounce was so silly when enemy champions like this isolated and you'd get Dark Wind bounce 4 times on each, and suddenly a quarter or like a third of HP is gone because you pressed your E button. It was very stupid.
Yeah, there's been some weird iterations of League.
Yeah.
We'll have to see. I know this new patch, I'm very excited to actually see how it's going to go. But Razork spotted on a ward. There's no world you're looking for a dive already.
They're pretty healthy here from Sam D. Miniwave is thin as well. Razork just using this opportunity to back away. Yeah, as you said, he won't find anything. Relech has found an opening.
Kéo tốt này. Embiro tốc biến đi. Relech lao lên. Ồ, 2 mạng cho Embiro luôn. Vãi cả lìn ra.
Surviving. What a clutch play from Empiros.
Mater and Rilech, we're going to have a talk, as this looked like a sure kill.
This was insane. Like the pull back into the knock-up, it looks like it's done and dusted.
Rilech
the
tanking.
shield barely there. Mater doesn't get the damage, and Rilech just shy on the E damage as well.
Oh, God.
That was massive for Imperos. Like, this wave will clear up, but you're still looking at about a 600-700 gold lead for the Rumble.
He's got Swifties, and already in the matchup, he's going to be comfortable. Equalizer's coming up very soon, by the way. So not only that, he'll have himself another bit of wave clear to push and go back and probably get an early build into Leandri's. So, Dagda, there is a problem in top. I think Empros, chance to carry this game now on him, right? We want to see this guy step up. We want him to show us that Fnatic made the right choice in pulling him into the LEC. In Empros's debut year, let's see what he can do now, leading that 1,000 gold lead as he gets a push in top lane consistently. Now level 6 as well, by the way. So Meta is going to be in trouble.
It also slowed Rilech down and is clear as well. So going to start moving out. Actually going for a repeat gank, it looks like, in this top side. Trying to right some wrongs. But as you say, level 6 about to be ticked over for Mainter as well.
Rilech does not have the level 6 himself for a bit of extra mobility. Mainter's trying to draw in the wave. But unfortunately, it's
làm chậm được này, tông xe này, tai nạn rồi. Xong rồi, em rốt sẽ bị nằm xuống thôi. Không chạy được. 3 mạng đó này. Đếm mạng đi anh em ơi.
Yeah, Rilech investing a lot on that top side. But Razork not able to really get much back. Cleared out his own Krugs. Now moving in towards Dragon, it looks like. Yeah, we'll end up starting it up as he's going to be able to take this away. But still, I mean, at least Navi gets something back. Still, though, I think I'm happy for Imperos. He's got some good gold under his belt and should be able to catch the majority of everything upstairs.
Fiendish Ashes not picked up just yet, but double Amp Tome and Ruby Crystals. TP going to be burned by Mainter. Emperos already burned his before. Spectral Cow picked up, which is kind of nice for the Scion, though. So no boots, but Mainter will be able to absorb a little bit more of that 1v1 pressure.
Yeah, so I think, honestly, much better start to the early game for Fnatic. Like,
yeah,
you look at the last couple of games, it has kind of been this slow, steady Navi winning through the laning phase, but that's a lot of arrows pointed red, and Razork looking for the invade here.
Yes, level 6, Rilech does not, again, with the level advantage. And no grim deliverance. Razork knows the
Lốc xoáy chạy đến từ Rilech.
Good extra damage. He gets the tangle barbs only under one as he pops down a Q. Navi just back away, and Razork now down an ulti. Red buff did go over to Rilech as he hits level 6 himself.
He gave him options with the Grim Deliverance, so Fnatic back away. This is now a little dicey as you got multiple members that can move over.
Fate Sealed available for Bloody as well. Poby has the shuffle. A 3v3 this would be as Smite doesn't steal away the objective. Razork got it to about 146, but unfortunately no steal.
Yeah, I think the reset just came through to send them packing, which gave them that regen. So overall, Fnatic, not quite what they would have hoped for off the invade, missing out on both those smites. But they do have, again, control over a lot of this map, and I like that they're trying to push these advantages as Razork had that level 6 push, just couldn't quite capitalize on it.
A little trade from Bloody, steps up, steps back. Things are getting more comfortable for him in the lane, obviously, as gold lead has gone from what we saw before for Fnatic, about 200 if you want to be specific, but that top lane gank neutralized the game again and slowed us.
Anh ơi, em buồn quá, một người anh của em sắp đi bệnh viện rồi, những cảnh mình mà buồn quá ngã. Cái đéo đấy. Đi bệnh viện là đi khám bệnh hay là đi ấy hả em? Địt con mẹ mình nghe sợ nhỉ. Chết rồi, mẹ đi bệnh viện này chết hỏng rồi, chết rồi. Đi tù anh ơi, cũng cắt lậu à? Địt mẹ. Chết mẹ rồi. Ai em? Đi mẹ sợ đấy. Đi con mẹ mày. Buồn quá ngại, nhưng mà sao lại bị phát hiện này em? Có lý do để né? Có lý do không em? Để anh né cái.
to continue putting that pressure and hope that they can look through Vladdy with Razor's ultimate coming back up to find success in early skirmish.
Chan mã gì em mà overkill này. Đi mất 3 tháng à? 3 tháng là đi tạm giam thôi. Bị tố cáo anh ơi à? Vãi lồn. Thôi nhá. Chắc là địt mẹ mày ông anh lại gọi là bia rượu với cả viewer à?
He's cycling back up and available at 1200 though. The smite, Rilech is going to get that 1k, and as he presses his F button, there's no cigar for Razork in the end.
And not quite able to get it, to make it work. So instead, it's just kind of keeping track on Rilech. And again, like even though Razork is putting some time and effort into this, their combo around objectives is really what Fnatic are playing for.
Yep.
And if you can prevent Rilech from interacting with this top lane, Imperios gets to keep kind of scaling into a position where he's happy.
Khổ nha. Chết rồi. Mình thì mẹ hạn chế rồi.
You can see he's behind in the CS department, a little bit behind when it comes to the experience. And it's just that those 2 kills that are keeping him in check in that top lane.
Yeah, because if he didn't have them, I'd be very concerned right now. With the way, as you said, the CS is going, getting the push in here. A bit of a wave for Mainter as he doesn't have the TP, so he's going to have to stay. We are focusing on bot lane for the time being.
Chậm đấy, địt mẹ đầu trận nhanh tí giờ chậm vãi lìn. Mấy xúc vật này.
With Na'Vi getting pushed, with that TP being burned by Poby, who's got Nashes. The item advantage might mean something here. As our second dragon to deny from Fnatic would be nice from Na'Vi, considering we know how dragons have influenced this series so far.
Đi 3 tháng mà, đi 3 tháng thì chỉ đi tạm giam thôi, chưa vào trại, chưa vào tù. Gọi là giống Senna ngày xưa ấy.
Like you do have at least first item completed there for Poby, which does help a little bit, and the Triforce. But I still think like on these early skirmishes where you're kind of teetering over towards one item, I just much prefer the top half of the map for Fnatic. But they can't really get Emperors involved in this next dragon, so maybe Na'Vi feel like they're strong enough with the pushes that they have and the vision control that they have to try and combat this. Because Paris has been doing a fantastic job of getting in and consistently getting wards down.
Vladdy's chunked out a little bit for this dragon though. Paris's aim on vision has layered down and
ăn cái con rồng. Cảm giác có được 2 mạng của thằng em Beirut xong ngọng. Đéo làm được gì. Đéo làm được gì luôn. Một đều rồng này. Bắt upset được không? Upset có khiên phép tốc biến được. Khiêu khích được một người, rút lông về, đéo giữ chân được Lost 3. Không có gì cả. Vẫn thế thôi.
As you say, upset. I did have to burn the flash, but I think again, I think if you can find the follow-up from Rilech into this bottom side, I think that's really going to be the focus. Or if you can try and get the plays, Fnatic start to shift upset towards mid lane, but it's still kind of difficult at the moment, just with the way that they haven't been able to.
Tạm giam khác gì tù á? Tạm giam khác chứ. Tạm giam nó dễ thở hơn.
Now, next thing up and available is Herald. You know, I was sitting here, Dagda, is upset just going to be found by Paris. I was sitting here thinking, you know, it'd be really nice as casters.
Yeah.
You know, if we had like, you know, one of those foot scrub machines, those ones that massage. Imagine sitting here in the early game when things are chill, maybe not chill. Dread of return. Upset's get a barrier, but he's got no flash.
Nào.
The punish is great, but the spell shield even better. Pop blossom from
Đây bọc đầu này. Anh cuối cùng khai bắt được này. À đâu? Đoạt mệnh chứ. Upset lùa Barret. Mấy thằng nào bị ngu à? Ốc cứt rồi. Ốc cứt rồi. Ốc cứt rồi, ốc cứt rồi. Quỳ văn đã chết. Đánh thường. Bật hồi máu để làm gì? Thằng đéo chả chết.
And even though Emperor didn't get too much, he's still got a kill running into melee range.
Big mistake coming through from Na'Vi, trying to overforce the play on the bottom side, and they're punished. Because at least at the get-go, they'd been in an okay spot. They'd started to again see this establishment of strong wins through the lanes when it came towards the gold. But an overforce now on the bottom side. And And it starts with Rex trying to punish the flashless upset, but it's a good spell shield and the heal that keeps him topped up. And you called him the fight lost, but with that ultimate, keeps Na'Vi at bay. Vladdy with the roam, Imperios with the TP. Fnatic knew that if they could just bring enough members to the party, they could win the fight.
Despite so much to go through the spell shield, upset spell shield still causes.
Đi mẹ, nhưng mà đóng tiền rồi chúng nó vẫn cho đi, chúng nó vẫn cho đi 3 tháng nhỉ? Cái là má, chắc là thiếu đam rồi, thêm đam, phải thêm đam. Thêm đam thì mới về. 1-4 này, 5 mạng.
Outside of that Losper and Vladdy ult, you know, when I say everything, I lied to you. We almost got everything up for Fnatic. While I'm looking on the other side, everything there for Na'Vi. So big executions on this fight as we come up for third Drake.
Still push for Na'Vi on this bottom side and shift over to get vision. And again, I think this is where Paris has been excelling in this game, is keeping pressure with that vision and really giving information on Na'Vi as to how they want to play. It didn't work out in the last one, but should help them.
Tiền vẫn đang cân thôi. Vladdy khả năng bị quay nha, mà có mắt rồi, lùi về được, không nguy hiểm lắm. Anh em ơi, anh em có biết chỗ nào ở Hà Nội bán mèo không? Em đang tính nuôi con mèo anh em ạ. Để biết chỗ nào ở Hà Nội bán mèo.
When Herald's topside, not a bad mission here for Na'Vi.
Well, the fact that you end up ulting the wave as Imperios means that you can't trade the tower, so you have to look for the Rift Herald. The thing is, Rift Herald will net you a tower. Yeah. In theory, but Fnatic just got a tower. So if I'm Fnatic,
thằng Na'Vi sao đánh chậm đấy nhỉ? Nhanh đi em. Không phải đợi đâu, tao biết chúng mày đội hình có 3 con chờ đồ rồi, đợi ông đéo đánh đi.
But you should, as Fnatic, be able to get back out into the map and control space, particularly for this dragon in 30 seconds.
That dragon's going to be a big one as well, just the stats alone. When both these comps have so much scaling when they have an Azir, Xayah, other side. You know what Yone Sivir do quite easily. So, stats is the name of the game. 20 seconds for that dragon. Fnatic have mid lane control thanks to Sivir. Reset here from Sandy. He comes back with Zeal.
Also, level 11 just hit for Razork as well. This Cyclone going to be doing a ton of work now in this fight.
Oh, yeah.
So I think this is where, for Fnatic, moving Vladdy down is going to be their focus to try and find it. Resets are here for Na'Vi, though, in a position where they can contest. And with Rift Herald to try and crack mid, Fnatic kind of need to force this fight quick.
Yeah, but for Fnatic, they won't have an equalizer, so they need numbers advantage first. Paris does get chunked out, but the Herald adds pressure to mid as Vladdy also chunked out too. They'll solo defend this turret for the time being, but Na'Vi just walk on up. They'll use that pressure to open it up. And Dragon now thought
có trụ giữa cho Na'Vi. Nghĩa trang Magic á? Giờ tầm chiều có bán rất nhiều á? Nhỉ? Cái đoạn chỗ ấy thấy chúng nó bán mèo nhiều, nhưng mà không biết mèo đấy có phải là mèo ấy không anh em? Mèo chuẩn không ấy? Em không mua mèo lai đâu, em chắc em mua mèo một là anh lông dài, hai là mua mèo Nga. Không mua mèo lai nhưng mèo gốc. Toàn mèo ăn trộm mà vãi lìn. Nổ hóa tốt này. Nhưng mà Lost 3 đéo có ai phụ đam cả. Thôi xong rồi. 1 đổi 1 đấy, nhưng mà có rồng cho FNC anh em ạ. Mèo con lên Hoàng Hoa 8 à? Ôi, Obi có mạng này, đổi được mạng không? Đổi được mạng ngon luôn. Sấy thẳng relect tốc biến, lại thêm một mạng, đổi một mạng nữa là 36, 9 mạng này. Mèo ăn trộm nghe cay luôn. Cái đợt trước em đi học hay đi qua đấy thấy chúng nó hay đứng ở đấy bán mèo. Mình cũng đéo để ý lắm. Giờ anh ra anh nhắc mình nhớ.
And then they start to back away. But as you say, Razork tries to go into Poby here. Poby has the ultimate, so ends up with him very split.
Thực ra thì em muốn nuôi chó cơ, nhưng mà căn bản là chó nó bẩn quá. Với cả ở trọ nên là phòng nó hơi hẹp. Chó nó hơi ấy.
It is still a bit of negation, but will it be enough? Unending Despair is picked up by Main Turret as well. I saw Relech get a Sundered Sky alongside his Trinity Force. The second item is being built here. Fnatic a little bit behind on that curve, considering Upset is trying to get towards that Infinity Edge. I can see similar values here from Vladdy sitting with a pickaxe and Cloak of Agility.
Nuôi chó tránh vào hoa tám mà dễ sinh chó bệnh này.
Both these teams have reasonably quick Barons. One mistake will open this game wide open.
I think there's small mistakes on the map setup that Fnatic are doing. Like, you're seeing Vladdy here is holding close to the mid wave, but Upset at this stage is completely fine and just one shot the
Muốn nuôi mấy cái con chó Nhật quá anh em ạ.
So I think sending Vladdy to this top half to actually constantly be a threat is far more important for Fnatic, because again, their side lane pressure is strong. And you have to over-index as Na'Vi then to try and protect these side lanes. But Fnatic now push boss, it's just eaten up by Poby. So
Căn bản mình đi mẹ làm thì hay ở nhà, xong rồi ở một mình nữa, nó cô đơn, để mẹ kiếm cái đấy nó vui một tí, bầu bạn ấy. Nào Barret lùi về, mất nửa máu rồi.
The fact that Razork got it last time, thanks to Lost but zoning off the backline of Na'Vi, puts Fnatic in a good position in this game 3. As we crest over the 20-minute mark, and those two items I was talking about, well, Vladdy has just picked up his lifeline with his, not Bloodthirst, shield bow, thank you so much. And Upset, I think that Infinity Edge can't be far off here. As Fnatic go deep, find Relech. Razork's there, Dread of Return pulls him back in, Dark and Blade.
Nào bắt Razork khó rồi. Lên bảng thôi, 4-6. Vẫn đang câu tham được. Khó à. Ơ, Sammy làm đéo đấy. Sammy vẫn tốc biến được nhá. Ok, vẫn sống. Mất tốc biến, mất R.
He needed to make that play though, because with Razork down, that could have been the Baron call for Navi. By having Sam D that low and have to reset, flash burnt as well, it does mean that Navi can't really get much for the jungler Fnatic being down.
Sam D with no flash. Ulti down a little bit as well. A minute until Dragon. Let's see if Vladdy's ulti changes the way this game goes, because they're going to need some ultis of their own. But if Sam D gets caught out, he has nothing to save him outside of Paris now.
Yeah, it is going to come down to some clutch ults usage, because everything should be back up when it comes to the ult economy for both sides. And again, you can see with flash available on Razork, he should be beelining for Sam D in a lot of these fights. So beyond peel from Poby and Paris to try and keep Navi's AD carry alive. Still though, Navi, with the Razork needing to come back onto the map, will get some side lanes, will get more gold in towards Poby. And with Poby opting in towards a very early Zhonya's, I think you're in an okay spot here as Navi to kind of keep yourself safe as long as you can protect Sam D.
As you said, those ultis will be back and available. Sam D has about 30, 20 seconds maybe. It's coming up quite fast as Na'Vi move into River. It's all about this Drake. Third one for Fnatic, second for Na'Vi. Relech face checking first, clearing vision is Na'Vi. Empros holds the mid wave. Remember his equalizer, if it passed down well, Na'Vi are in a lot of trouble as Dragon spawns and focus on this fight.
Nào ăn con rồng này, chán nhau rồi. Mưa tên lửa giải ra. Chia cắt đội hình đối phương tốt. Ơ, thằng lúc xoay chết con mẹ đầu kia rồi. Đây khiêu khích được này. Và thôi xong rồi. Tiếp tục làm thêm người nữa là Wukong. Ăn được 3 dầu mất 2 mạng, 6 đều. Cơ hội mất Baron luôn đấy. Navi ra Baron luôn.
Not believing that Razork can really find the position that he needs. There was no real threat on towards Navi. So they don't get the dragon, but they get the Baron for it.
Bỏ Baron luôn này.
losing Baron. Vladdy trying to stop a back.
Và đi vẫn đang muốn thử sức nhé. Có R, có tốc. E quá. Ôi giời ơi, địt này mày.
I didn't know what to expect there. I've seen crazier things as Fnatic lose Baron, and it is Na'Vi who move into gold great territory.
Yeah, it now becomes how much can Na'Vi get from this play? Because if you can hold on to this as Fnatic, you're on sole point. If you can stop Na'Vi from really getting a massive gold lead out of this, you're in a fantastic spot.
So what happened here, Dagda?
So you get to see here, like
he's a blue buff,
but Imperius does nothing with the ultimate. So Na'Vi just go, cool, we'll turn on towards the only flanking member that's there. Razork does a great job of getting the smite steal, but doesn't actually get the ultimate off to keep himself safe. So it kind of just poor presence in the fight from Fnatic on ult usage as well.
You know, the only bonus, Dagda, is they didn't use anything because they died before they could. I'm talking about Razork, I'm talking about Lospa. So Flash is both available for these big engage tools. However, as you said, gold now for Na'Vi, Baron for Na'Vi. If Fnatic can weather the storm, then there's another fight in them for the soul, but
6-6 rồi. Ao 2k3 tiền, có bổ lợi dùng bổ lợi Baron. Thằng em Beirut khỏe ấy, mà phải giải R đẹp cơ.
And it's Fnatic again who want to be trying to push pressure advantages through their side lanes and through their dominant solo lanes, but are just not finding windows to do so.
LEC found out a level ahead of Razork as the defense begins, or rather continues, from Fnatic. Upset East topside clearing for now, next wave in about 10 seconds.
The other benefit of that last fight for Na'Vi is the fact that no, it's gonna fall.
Mấy tớ khỏe quá. Chặt đéo vào máu.
A rabbit on death cap instead of completing the Zonyas. He held onto the Seekers, bought a second needlessly large rob before that last fight. Now Poby is incredibly strong as they start the siege.
Ricochets need to come in through from Upset. Razork goes in.
Vẫn đang cố gắng defend ở trụ cánh trên. Mới lửa giải ra luôn. Ui đẹp ấy. Đẹp phết đấy. Bật săn đuổi lùa. Áp lực đối phương lùi về.
Simply an equalizer, simply a Civarol, and a back with Baron buff to get Na'Vi out of dodge.
So for Fnatic, they managed to hold on to two of their outer towers. Mid lane is the easiest turret for them to defend because they've got a Sivir. So Fnatic, it's not a back-breaking amount that they've lost on the back of this Baron. This fight will continue, and it all comes down towards a potential Infernal Soul for Fnatic. And this is insane, because coming into this series, I thought it was kind of locked for Na'Vi. I was like, this team
bọc đầu à? Đây bọc đầu à? Em Beirut. Còn tốc. Tốc né CC. Thoát.
Silently was burned a minute 20 before Dragon, but Empros now a little bit more volatile with his flash down.
But I don't think it matters too much. Like Rumble, obviously very good in flashing into a fight when you've got the overheat and flame spitter. But if the rest of Fnatic do their job correctly, there should be enough space for Imperios to just walk into the fight. The big thing for me though is I need to see Imperios comboing his ult with the rest of them. Most of these fights we're seeing this equalizer go down with no real setup. Sam D isn't hit by it or just walks away. Like the combo on Fnatic is the crucial part of their fight. We just haven't seen it work in tandem at all.
It's been zoning only, you're right. How do Fnatic bring it all together? And I will say, I mean, I was worried about Mainta's ult. It's almost up. It's up now.
Razork lùi về được này. Lại mất thêm cái R của Upset nữa. 3 game như 1 luôn. Lại đợi rồng à? Đổ được trụ cánh trên. Razork chim bồi chạy được. Rồng bây giờ 8 giây nữa ra linh hồn rồng lửa ấy. Nhưng mà đang đéo có thế ra. Thằng Vladdy có tele.
Vladdy's at half HP almost. He'll have to heal up a little bit before he makes the flank if he doesn't just walk over for now. But Dragon, as I said before,
bỏ rồng luôn à?
too much was given up, too much pressure from Na'Vi. And it slows the game down again. We're used to that here in this series. It's been a great story so far. And look, Medic, I'm talking to you now. You might not like this personally. You might say Or some of you out there might say it's bad League of Legends. But isn't it just good to be immersed by such messy, fun gameplay sometimes? I mean, this game, I will say, has been a little bit cleaner. This game is coming down to those stakes we set with the scaling compositions, a little bit simpler, and a fight that I'm sure we will not forget anytime soon as we come up towards Baron in 45 seconds. And Na'Vi seem to be in control for now, Dagda, but no one knows how this game is going to end.
So much of this has come down to, as LEC steals away that camp, is Razork finding flanks, and Na'Vi have spotted him out consistently and made him pay for it. So now Fnatic, like, no dragon on the map for a while, 30 seconds until Baron. They're trying to put the pressure in towards those pushing side lanes, but they're not getting a chance to use them. Like, even at that last dragon, you got the push for Vladdy in top. He doesn't back away. He has the teleport advantage over Mainter, who's trying to answer, and they don't try and come for a fight, or they don't try and look for that flank. I think it's just miscoordination on Fnatic, and Na'Vi kind of just getting to scale. But at any point in time, if this comes together for Fnatic, I think they have it. Like,
Lao hết tung này. Brothers bị cấu máu đau nhá. Ủa, đi cầm mẹ thằng Master đâm xe vào tường à? Đâm đầu vào tường gãy lên. Câu được cái R của con ngu công rồi.
Still, a lot used by Na'Vi. I'm not sure if Fnatic could have tried to continue that. You have a lot of engaged tools still available, Lospa and Vladdy, but instead, a bit nervous and they'll back away.
And you know, I keep getting critical of like when Mainter is ulting. It doesn't matter. It's almost up again.
Yeah.
It's got like a 30-second cooldown at this point in the game. So 10 seconds you can see, back up.
It's also there was to cover in case Vladdy's ultimate went out. Because it would end up clicking onto Paris and then immediately Mainter would slam into him. So a lot of the time it is Mainter kind of covering the bases. But Fnatic once more step up, no vision. They spot the sign in top lane. I think they're aware the Relentless reset as well. So they're establishing vision once more.
But not like Razork can do anything about it. His Cyclone, quarter of the cooldown left remaining, upset the same. It comes down to this. Baron sitting up and waiting for a foe. 2 minutes 30 for Dragon to go. It'll be Soul for Fnatic, Soul point for Na'Vi. Gold lead meaning less and less, even though we're at 3.5 items. It does feel like, again, this execution, the burden of it on both of these teams to find a crucial win for Fnatic, more so, but for Na'Vi to move to 5 as Dread.
Yo, thanks for the donation. High Speed, we are a big fan from Money TFT community. Could you please say hi to Money TFT? Sure, what's up, Money TFT? How are you doing? Yo, thanks for the donation. Hi to Money TFT. Sure, what's up? We are a big fan from Money TFT community. Could you please say hi to Money TFT? Sure, what's up, Money TFT? How are you doing? Yo, thanks for.
Lands the tango barbs, but there's nothing there. Like, Fnatic are still losing out on that map.
That wave has just been dealt with. It's gone. Gone to the minion wave, gone to the turret. Another wave channeling in. Vladdy gets chunked out a little bit. Baron is
Đánh mẹ mày đi. Chúng ăn Baron kìa. Alo. Đéo biết gì luôn. Ôi địt mẹ mấy thằng Fnatic. Ôi thua đi. Tao xin chúng mày. Hãy lồn game địt mẹ. Ngu phải ngu vừa thôi.
To those side waves while trying to contest this spot, and Na'Vi still got what they wanted.
Seems like Na'Vi is starting to pull it together. What can they do with this Baron Dagda? That's going to be the biggest question, right? They have to crack that top inner, bot inner, and try and make their way into the base to add pressure so that this dragon stacking can be more in their favor. 45 seconds at the very least, they're here. Razork found out, back slowed down. And it does feel like this third dragon will be Na'Vi's. We will be going to all 7 dragons. But Na'Vi sieging Dagda has always been in question. That's a problem. They have overcommitted, overstayed. How do they approach inner bot?
There's no wards behind them this time for Fnatic to try and bail out.
Good point.
It's Razork who's trying to look for flanks, but his entire jungle is lit up like a Christmas tree. He is just walking from ward to ward to ward. And Na'Vi are backing away as they just continue to spread out this Baron bot push on mid. Mainter, I think, doing good work against Vladdy again there.
Poby just teleported in behind Na'Vi. Not seen yet. Good knockout from Reled. Straight of return. Poby's down.
Nào. Bây giờ giải ra.
But he's almost dead to a couple of autos.
Vẫn chưa có gì cả anh em ạ.
Yeah, Fnatic just need to full send at some point, but they're never getting the chance. Someone is getting caught out every single time, whether it's just getting poked down or whether it's being sent packing and upset. There you can see just popping the ultimate solely to try and keep control of the tower.
Wants to threaten while Dragon does go down. Mains is going to ulti, but remember, who cares about the cooldown? Dragon down.
Hãy load game đi mẹ đánh. Xem này tốn thời gian. Bắt thằng Bobby này, Bobby đẩy ra xong lại đi về. Hết. Không phân thắng bại nha.
But what were you hoping for, Raza? Like, you're going into an Azir that has shuffle and flash, and you're burning your own flash to make that happen. Like, you should be holding these 4 big fights, so then you can try and find something. Because now with Baron in 330, he won't have flash. He won't have, like, actually with Cosmic Insight it'll be up just shortly after. But even then, like, I don't understand the decision.
Tham là một món quà. Mất thời gian lẫn lồn. 3 game của chúng nó bằng con mẹ mà 2 cái BO3.
Poby's going to push bot. Mid's going to be dealt with by LEC. And Fnatic don't have Razork's tool, as you said. As a small cancel onto Paris is nice, but Razork can only bonk him. He can run away. And a bit more gold to Na'Vi is just what the doctor ordered.
But that's it. Like, say he had that Cyclone there. Could have maybe got the pick onto Paris. Maybe that gives you the opportunity to push out waves, get mid-turret. Suddenly the game's open. And yeah, it just, to me, it just feels bizarre. Fnatic just seems to be kind of throwing things willy-nilly. And Na'Vi, like, they are just more controlled in the fights. They're playing front to back. They know that as long as they keep Poby and Samdi safe,
Đánh đéo 35 phút rồi.
that Fnatic can really do. Now we're to 3 dragons apiece, and it feels like with both of these objectives now starting to come up fairly shortly, and 4 to 5 items now being completed on Navi's carries, they're in a prime spot to carry this game.
And then end the series. Don't forget, if Fnatic lose this game, lose this series, not only they go to 2-4, they're going to verse KC tomorrow in KC's arena. And we've seen KC so far are the cleanest ones here at our roadshow. So my concern is Fnatic end the weekend 2-5 with only a single win that came through from shifters, and then they have to go back to LEC for 2 more series.
Yeah,
it might be the end of Fnatic. Honestly, this series might have a domino effect as their defense continues again on this inner turret down the bottom side. Na'Vi do not have a Baron buff, of course, but they have access to this turret. Mainta gets a push in mid, and finally it drops.
Na'Vi just playing with the waves. They've done a better job on the map, and they're continuing to keep this pressure up now. All it is just wait. Wait for these items to come through, wait for the timers to tick down, and you can look like your Poby is massive. Like, every time he's been able to get a couple of auto attacks onto Razork, Razork has had to run for the hills. He just
chưa xong được nhá.
have the health bar to manage that.
Đợi anh em đợi thêm tầm 2 phút nữa là tầm phút 38 sẽ ra con rồng chan nhau. Xong rồi đến phút 40 này ra chan Baron.
Mid push negated by Sam D, but Mainta's got an angle right down river.
Bloody did complete the GA, so maybe once more Bloody can kind of
Thôi đánh nhau đi. Đừng đẩy nữa, đừng farm nữa. Thật, nhìn game mệt quá. Bọn em nó thi xem thằng nào ăn nhiều cơm hơn thì ai thắng. Thể lực nhá. Sợ thật đấy, đánh địt mẹ trận game bằng mẹ hiệp bóng đá. Lao lên khiêu khích này. Lost bắt lại rồi. À đâu cái bóng ấy chứ. Đoạt mệnh 2 này mới lửa giải ra thôi xong rồi. Đó rất nằm. Nổ hoa tốt. LEC vẫn đang quẩy. LEC định thần quyết 2 người. Và bây giờ thì bắn tốt đi, có mạng của Master nữa. Thôi xong rồi. Bọn Na'Vi ngu như chó vậy. Na'Vi mẹ mày ngu quá. Xong phở nó lại ăn con Baron này.
close. Can pick off the backline of Na'Vi, and it's Baron for Fnatic.
It'll burn down quick. Reletch is over the wall looking for a steal. Has flash available, but he's too late. Baron for Fnatic. The never say die team.
Bỏ rồng à? Cho con linh hồn rồng lửa à? Bỏ chết đi nhá. Đang chạy ra anh em ạ. Có tele không? Đéo ra kịp rồi. Hãy lồn bỏ. Ăn Baron bỏ linh hồn rồng lửa. Ừ.
The old Baron for Soul. Now, Dagda, if they end on the Baron, maybe worth.
But look how many structures are there.
I know there's a lot.
Mid-tier 1, 2, and 3. Side lane, you've still got the 2 outer towers. Like, this is not an ending Baron for Fnatic, and you've just given such a powerful... So, 3 Infernal Dragons over to Na'Vi.
Well, that sounds like an issue. Elder's coming up in 5 minutes, that's all I'm saying. What a way to end the series it would be is we're back towards hogging over the mid lane. Vladdy's also just hovering a little bit, spot on a ward as he transitions here.
40 phút rồi nhá. Có Baron mà vẫn chưa đẩy được. Aram đường giữa luôn mà. Lính anh dưới đẩy cao kìa. Không đẩy được luôn.
Na'Vi hold on the mid lane turret's empty, wave clear, enough for the Baron apparently. 40 minutes into the game.
Địt mẹ mà nó hành xác. Có trụ dưới kìa, lính đẩy được kìa. Bắt thằng em Birot này. Lái xe, ghê đấy. Lái xe ghê đấy. Địt mà lái con xe ghê đấy. Em Birot bị làm chậm rồi. Thôi toác rồi. Gãy. Ấn đồng hồ câu time rồi. 7-8 này.
And now a very clean way in towards your base.
Fnatic found one team fight to maybe just let us down. Game 3, Na'Vi gonna run in bot. As you said, Baron gonna slow down the push a little bit, but feeling confident here as Decimating Smash won't reach Razork. He hovers on the side. Sandy looking for the next wave. TP gonna be channeled. In comes Paris. Now with Bandle Pipes. A little bit of a net.
Mà đang có Baron Death thì làm sao mà đẩy được?
Razork gets over the wall. He's found out with a lens. As Reletch helps his bottom wave with Poby channel in, but they're going up against the Sivir. The only thing Fnatic are really holding on to here, Dagda, with their mistakes, is the fact that the siege is so damn hard because Upset one-shots the waves.
Yeah, I mean, still, you're kind of holding on by a string here. And at least it does give you more opportunities, but every single time you can see, like, Razork is getting poked out before this fight starts. Vladdy has to try and make a miracle run. And you're getting caught in side lanes as well. Like, 2.5 minutes until Baron. If you cannot test at this Baron, it is
Cứu tôi với. Cái giải đầu buổi này. Bằng mẹ trận bóng à? 2 trận bóng à? Chúng nó cứ sợ cái đéo ấy nhở? Đánh mẹ đi. Sợ thua à? Sợ thua đừng đánh giải nữa.
Very good. They understand how to try and get these setups, and we've seen in the past on different teams what they're capable of doing. But just watching the people getting caught, not playing around vision, not looking for what is like a very clear-cut plan, is just so annoying. And like, I'm not even fully invested.
Lại đợi mục tiêu lớn thôi. Sợ chưa?
Bro, the Fnatic fans, you guys, I tell you, at least once a month, make sure you have some therapy set up. Make sure you have a psychologist or something, because we need to look after your mental health. It's so topsy-turvy, up and down. And sure, other teams in the league, you could argue the same, but You're filled with hope, then it's taken away. And it's so funny that your AD carry's name is Upset, because half the time I think you are too. So where did Fnatic land here? They gave up Soul. Baron number 3, I think, is up in a minute. Elder's up in a minute 15. The buff designed to end games, Dagda. That's surely what it's all about.
Nhanh đi. Chấm dứt nỗi đau đây. Dùng ngắn tuổi 1 phút nữa này.
They can just one-shot Na'Vi. But the problem now is you've got GA on Sam D. You still have that ultimate on Sam D. The Zhonya's for Poby. The opportunities to punish before these luxury items that keep you safe were there has kind of gone out the window for Fnatic. And we're not getting any sort of deep vision that enables Fnatic to look for flanks. Or, again, like you can see Paris is already spotting out where Fnatic are because there's no creativity here. It's basically a front to back.
And it has been for a while. It's been all this focus around mid for the past 15 minutes almost. Side lanes are sparse.
Baron ra, 25 giây nữa rồi dùng ra. Ui Bobby à. Hai cái là mũ điện thôi, ỉa mẹ ra quần luôn, bật lửa lấy máu luôn. Ui nó đốt kìa. Ui chém kìa. Thằng Bobby ỉa luôn mà. Bobby nó có tele. Dán rồng ngắn tuổi đến từ Fnatic này. Ăn nhanh nhá. Ăn nhanh ấy. Relax đâu rồi. Trừng phạt. Có rồng ngắn tuổi cho Fnatic và thôi xong rồi. Na'Vi họ đang từ từ đã quẩy ác rồi. Relax này. Na'Vi họ vẫn đang thắng nhá. Có rồng ngắn tuổi xong vẫn thua mà. Bắn. Có rồng ngắn tuổi xong thì mẹ giết được đúng một người. Ôi vãi lồn. Địt mẹ mà có rồng ngắn tuổi giết được đúng một người. Rumble đợi hồi cái mưa tên lửa xong giải thôi. Giải mưa tên lửa cho cờ lia quay thôi. Cầu tham thôi. Đéo cầu rồi. Hết sức à. Ui. GG anh em ơi. Ôi nghỉ nhá. Đi buồn ngủ anh em ạ. Bye anh em nhé.